Welcome. Hello. Let's see. Let's get this going. I'm so excited for another round of D&D. Okay. Okay. Everybody logged in. Everybody ready to go? Everyone ready for some more D&D? Thumbs up? Yeah?
Yeah.
Feeling good? Something I am going to do. Let me take you guys off the loading screen for one moment here. Something that we compressed a little bit at the end of the session that I'll give you guys a moment to resolve before we start the timer for tonight. Back on the ship, if you're going to sleep, go ahead and move yourself where you would be sleeping. If it's fog of war, just let me know.
Already sleeping.
As I thought, yes. I've got Tierney and Alan squared. This will be important. This is something, there is importance behind this. So make sure you are where you would be when you put your head to the pillow.
Wait a second, somebody's watching. Who's doing first watch?
Oh, I am.
I was gonna say everybody's sleeping right now, and I'm not okay with that.
Tierney Fang taking first watch, is that correct?
Correct.
How wonderful. Okay, let's rip it. The party rests on board Sparrow, docked here in Serloon, Sembia. It is the night of April 8th, just before the stroke of midnight. You can hear waves against the hull of the ship, and the small village of Serloon is dim. There are few clouds in the sky. Somewhere, the body of a siren assassin bobs in the water before two waves pull it silently and gratefully under the deep green sea. Tierney Fang, you're keeping watch on the main deck?
Yes, sir.
What do you see? What do you look for?
I observe the dock to make sure anybody's not coming, and I observe the harbor to make sure no more seafaring villains are headed our way.
Seafaring villains. Would you be looking for ships on the waterline, on the rocks? Where would you direct your gaze?
I imagine it would be a pretty uniform thing to see at most points because it's deep night. It's not really a port town, so it's pretty dark. So anything I would be seeing would have to be illuminated or pretty readily present on the horizon, I would assume. Otherwise, I would make sure nobody's just trying to literally walk on the ship from the dock.
You do notice someone walking towards you. This person is coming from on board the ship, though.
Do I know who it is?
You do. You see the figure of Captain Barrack walking up the stairs towards you. He stands close to you. Fucking gunshots, wow. He stands close to you and utters something. Keeping watch, my friend? Looking out toward the sea while your friends rest their heads?
Somebody has to be the conscience.
You and me, I think we have a lot in common, my friend.
Time will tell.
I've often felt like I am the conscience of this ship. Time will tell. He gazes out over the water. I couldn't sleep. And to tell you the truth, I was hoping I could steal your ear for a moment.
Without fully breaking my attention from the dock, I will speak to him. I will lax my attention on the ocean, but I'll keep one eye on the dock.
Roll perception.
15.
You watch as a small gray rat scurries across the dock, going from sack of grain to sack of grain.
I'll realign my attention back on the drunkard captain.
You can smell the alcohol on his breath as we speak. He lowers his voice and presses his nose toward yours. I was thinking, perhaps all of us should have a bit of a conversation. Clear the air.
I'll cock my head to indicate that I'm listening, but say nothing.
Here's what I think. And I will let you make this decision yourself. Far be it from me to guide your hands, Mr. Fang. In 5 minutes, meet me in my cabin. I want to talk about what to expect in Dawngleam. You should wake up your companions if you want them to hear this too. But I won't make you. He smiles at you.
I'll smile back. A toothy smile.
5 minutes. Sound good?
Received.
He gives you a perfunctory bow. Turns around, looks over his shoulder for a moment, catching your eye, nods, and then walks back across the deck of the ship. It's your turn, Tierney.
Okay, remind me who had second watch in our crew?
It's Eden.
Eden. So I won't be waking up Eden or Alan. Because Alan didn't get a full night's sleep last night, and Eden has the other watch. So I will be waking up Ian and Grint, if he wants to be woken up. If I see like a gauntleted hand reach for me, I'm going to give up on the mission.
Let's resolve those one at a time. First, you said Ian. How would you wake up Ian? Or please allow me to rephrase that. How would you, Tierney, wake Ian up?
I would try and pretty quietly come into the room and then grasp him pretty firmly on his shoulder.
This is like just after they went to bed, right?
Yes, your head has been on the pillow for perhaps an hour at the absolute most. The wine is still in your system. Your head throbs.
Yeah, Ian's just gonna fuck off.
I'll shrug, and I'll fuck off. I will go downstairs to the snoring dwarf. I will, before I rouse him, I assume he's like passed out in seated position or something wild like that. I will make sure no weapons are within close proximity.
Grint sleeps like this with his sword.
I will use Mage Hand.
Good thinking.
I'll wake you up from like a 10-foot distance.
Grint shakes it with and he starts swinging his sword around.
I'll wait until the flurry subsides.
What?
The captain wants to speak with us. I could do it myself, but I'd figured I'd give you the option to listen in.
What does he want?
I don't know.
At 8.
All right. You and me, Grint.
Yeah, Grint will go with.
You do so.
So I'm making my way up to the captain's quarters.
With Grint in tow?
Yes.
He is a creature of his own designs, but I hope so.
Go ahead and move yourselves there. Tierney, roll insight.
20, not natural.
You wonder for a moment where that rat has gotten into while you're down in the cabin. You find yourselves in Barrick's cabin. There is a small, tarnished silver mirror that he has nailed to the wall since you've last been in here. An elegant razor is clipped to the side of the mirror. As Sparrow moves, the hull creaks, and one empty bottle rolls across the floor of the cabin. Barrick is standing here, and you can tell, again, that he's still drunk.
Perfect.
As you come in, he turns to you and lowers his voice. If you could, close the door behind you.
I'll close it quietly. The type of closing where you hold the difference between the door and the door frame to soften the click of the latch. Yeah.
You do so. You hold the breadth of the door, allowing you to close it very carefully. It closes with a soft click. It smells like cheap rum in here. Barrick looks down at you, Grint. Not the one I expected, but we could file this under a welcome surprise. Never mind. So, I have some questions for you, and I thought you might have some for me. So first, straight up, what happened to Dawn, the navigator?
We don't know.
We were all asleep. Rail screamed from the top of the deck. And when we all got upstairs, the navigator was dead. I snuck around and investigated, including this room. And I interrogated all of your crew members in my own special way. And I forget the name of your other two riggers, but they had something to hide about the manor. And Rail struck me as completely overwhelmed by this. It's not my business, and I'm almost certain it was one of them two. I believe it was the male, and I believe it was something to do with these two people's intimate relationship. But I can't exactly crew the ship myself. I needed them. So I let sleeping corpses lie, as it were.
I must confess, the entire arrangement for this is a bit peculiar to me. Don was not even supposed to be on this ship, so it's odd that he was here and killed. You should know that I questioned the crew as well. They know nothing about it.
How well do you know him?
Now that's a good question. How well can you really know somebody until you've been pressed?
Indeed.
Let me ask you something else. Do you think we should remove the mark from the front of the ship before we set sail?
Why will we do that?
So we can sail more surreptitiously.
Precisely.
That would depend on the manner of the favor you had us do. Which, as you said before, you prefer to keep us in the dark, and I have voluntarily kept myself in the dark.
That's another thing. Perhaps we can come back to our previous point about the mark, but in terms of the favor I have asked you, something I'd like you to keep in mind after we get to Dawngleam. We're looking for someone in particular, and I've never met the man. He's a Duergar. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
I figured you would.
I'm not sure if Tyranny would, but I'll just let Grint talk about him. Well, they should stick out.
One would assume. He told me he's hiding in plain sight. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure what that means or where to even start looking. Consider this the favor Mark II. We'll need to find this man in order to profit from my endeavor.
I'm fairly good at finding people who don't want to be found. We'll find a way.
Simply keep that in the back of your mind. I have a feeling he'll come into our sight at some point. Now. Back to this mark on the front of the ship. It would allow us to sail more surreptitiously. However, it may signal that we're not coming from Serloon. Do you follow?
I do.
It's
Give
not
her a moment.
It's,
We had a disconnect.
Oh, I see. It's not a decision that you need to make right now, but it's something that we should consider before we arrive. I've done this journey many times, and there are pros and cons either way. If we were to remove the mark, that would indicate that we have not yet been visited by Zentarim customs. This may mean the ship would be inspected again after we arrive in Dawngleam. Now, I'm sure you can see the opposite approach as well. If we leave the mark on here, that means the ship has already been inspected by the Zentarim. Generally what that means, you're an easy mark. They were able to get on the ship, they were able to inspect it. Do you understand this side of it as well?
I believe I do. I'll look at Grint, expecting not much.
So who's going to try to get on the ship then?
Who's going to try to get on the ship? Well, if you've never been shaken down by the Zentarim, what would happen is a number of them may come on the ship, not like what they find, and assess a penalty, a fine. They may even try to throw us in jail.
How many of them?
I like the way you think. I've seen as many as 8, 10, 12 board ships at the docks in Dawngleam. Remember, we're leaving Sembia. We'll be in Cormyr soon. This will be a very different area of the world.
When do we expect to dock?
Tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. by my reckoning.
Maybe we can hold this decision in abeyance and think on it for the night, when we have clearer heads and soberer minds.
A fair point. Not anything that I would make you decide right now, however, a decision that you'll have to make.
Understood. I assume if a scrap results of whatever's in the ship, whatever's in the bag, you would not be a participant.
To be clear, you're asking me, would I be a combatant on your behalf?
Well, let's be really clear. Would you be a combatant on our behalf, on your behalf?
He smiles. It's always interesting watching things play out in real time, Tierney. I must confess, I'm not sure what I would do if the Zentarim boarded our ship and forced us to take sides against one another. As I'm sure, you may have trouble anticipating the decisions that you may make as well. A man doesn't know himself until he's in the depths of fear, I'm afraid.
If the Zentarim did board us, would they find the contents of whatever's in the satchel to be pleasing? Or would they be incensed by this?
Well, people are pleased by different things. I suspect that they would likely confiscate them, to be honest, if they were to find anything valuable that I potentially brought on the ship and it was found during a search.
So, I would guess that your neck has more skin off it than ours does. I don't even know what's in the bag.
He touches his neck as if to verify that it's still intact. I suspect you will find that if the Zentarum are unhappy with me on the ship, they're probably not going to be too happy with you or your present company either.
Fair point.
Have you heard of a marriage of convenience?
Not only have I heard of it, I'm currently living it.
He looks at you. One moment. He looks at you and assesses briefly. His eyes settle on your necklace, and he nods. He picks up the bottle off the floor, shakes it back and forth as if to confirm that it's empty, and takes a swig of the last few droplets anyway.
Let me ask you a few questions if you don't mind.
As you see fit. I promised you that I had some questions for you, and I figured you'd have some for me.
I'm not surprised. I'm a little surprised you questioned the crew, but not really. And I'm not surprised that the killer didn't come forth with the information you were seeking. What would your punishment be if what I'm saying is true? What would your recourse be?
This incident is nicely covered by merchant marine law. That person should be killed. The penalty for killing one of your shipmates is death. I may have a hard time carrying it out, but I would. A grim deed, to be sure, though. A captain killing their own crewmen is difficult to explain to one's employer.
What is your and your crew's pay for this mission? Truly. You're
Truly?
obviously not being paid on promises. So what payment were you given? Were you given payment up front for this?
Roll persuasion.
$23.
He seems to consider your request for a long moment. You get the impression that he is carefully weighing the value of this information and seems to conclude that it is not valuable enough to hide. At least from you. My crew gets a silver a day. Me, I was paid 40 gold for the voyage. And I've been offered more if I bring you back safely.
Now that is the first reassuring thing you've said all night.
It may surprise you to learn that my interests may be aligned with yours. Hence the desire to have a clear, candid conversation.
If the Zent boarded the ship, do you have a place to hide the fenced goods?
We could reasonably try to stash it with the ballast, but I get the impression that the Zent, if they were already on board, would be thorough.
Makes sense. When was the last time you were in Cormier?
Last November.
That's a while. Did you find it to be a relatively normal pirate town? Or was the Iron Fist of the Zent very extreme?
I assume you mean Dawngleam itself?
I do.
How do I put this? The Gauntlet of the Zent has a hard time grasping fully around things. They are excellent at directing governments that are not theirs, but when it comes to direct administration, I'm afraid they're not worth much more than Bilgewater. If your question is, what did I find it like? I found it to be a lawless hellhole.
Perfect. Okay. I'm a little anxious about getting upstairs from my watch. I will fill the rest of the crew, my crew in when they wake up, but I think we're going to need a full night's sleep.
As you see fit, I do think having someone on watch is prudent.
A lot of rats on the dock.
He doesn't answer.
Okay. Grint, do you have any questions?
Why weren't you with the crew in Selgalt?
He looks. Roll insight.
$11.
He looks embarrassed. He looks around the room for a moment as if hoping to find someone to save him from answering this. And he says, quite simply, I had a number of debts.
Okay, so he didn't want to return to Selgaunt because somebody would come knocking on his door, is what you're saying? They're all... That's how I interpret it. Okay, fair enough. Nothing more.
Oh, I have one last question. Since our interests do align and we're adventurers, the fights find us. If push came to shove and our interests were aligned, would you draw swords with us? In an ideal world. I'm not asking for a promise, because I know you're not going to make it.
Insightful of you, Tierney. I couldn't promise it if you wanted. I'm afraid... He pats where a scabbard would be on the left and right hip. I'm afraid I don't have a sword that I could draw. I could perhaps find something. Would I take up arms in your defense? Well, it depends who we're up against, I suppose.
Now, wait a minute. When we were in the bar, he placed his hand on something. What the hell was that?
Roll intelligence.
This is something Grint would definitely remember.
Yes, indeedy. Well, because Grint was because he was going to fight Grint. That's why he would remember it. Four.
You attempt to recall, what did he put his hand on in the bar? You know you saw him put his hand on his hip. Surely there was a weapon there, right? The scabbard for something? But you can't recall. The ship moves slightly in the harbor, and you have to resist the urge to not get seasick.
Yeah, so Grint's just going to say it then. He's going to say, then what would you have done in the bar if I'd attacked you?
You would have attacked me in the bar? What a strange chance. Mr. Grommel. After you pay my tab and take such good care of me, now you want to discuss what would have happened had we come to blows?
Well, you're already on thin ice, so it still might happen.
I'll laugh out loud.
Your laugh does little to fray the tension that you see in Barrick's face. He looks a bit taken aback by this Grint and says, I would hope that you and me never come to blows, Warbringer. I would prefer to not even entertain the fantasy.
That's unfortunate. I kind of wanted to see what you got.
Perhaps someday you will, although I fear that day may come to pass soon.
I look forward to it.
You do so.
So, I did have one question. Grint's going to ask, so, you said with the mark, it tells the Zentarum that somebody had already been on the boat. Are you telling me we could have stopped them from getting on the boat?
Yes.
How?
You could have held your ground. The option is always there to stand up to people. If you've never been shaken down in a port city before, you may wish to familiarize yourself with some of their common tactics, because I fear once you arrive in Cormyr, there will be many people who see someone like you and wish to extract any gold, any valuables, anything you have by any means necessary. Simply because...
Grint's getting kind of excited about this. He says, "Oh, you should take that mark off then."
Why don't we discuss it with the rest of the rest of our company? How about that, Grint?
Simply let me know. Someone will have to go over the side, off the bow of the ship, which is a bit perilous, but a small task for someone with a bit of dexterity.
Or a bit of magic.
Or a bit of magic. It would take probably at least 30 minutes, so let's not wait too long if you wish to do so. Simply let me know before we dock in Dawngleam.
Got it. And one last thing, Captain. A token of maybe a hope for a better understanding between us. And I'll take the -1 short sword out of my bag and hand it to him.
He accepts it. He wraps his hand around the hilt. He looks at the sword and seems to recognize it, potentially as one of the Baron's items. He says, "Tierney, thank you. Where did you get this?"
We had a key to a chest here. The Baron had given us some provisions. It seems best for the unequipped. I don't think Grint wants this.
Ew.
He studies the tarnished blade. "This could do in a pinch, I suppose. Again, thank you. It's very kind to give arms to strangers."
Any short sword in a storm, as they say.
He can't help but laugh.
Anyhow, I'm going to continue my watch. I'm a little bit anxious about something happening.
As you should. Mr. Grommel, I'm sure you wish to return to whichever part of the ship you've planted your face.
Yeah.
And both of you resume where you were, is that correct?
Yep.
Let me move myself.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and put yourself. Where would you go back to watch here? And I'll ask you one more time, looking forward, if there's a certain thing that you're studying or looking for.
Where was the gangplank to the ship? Is it on the port or starboard?
It's on port side.
As left, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so I recalled the rat. The captain didn't say anything. He might have just thought I was being an idiot. But I would like to keep an eye out for that, because it piqued my fancy.
You do so. Time passes. Innumerable waves touch the ship, moving the hull slightly in the harbor. It's now 3 a.m., the morning of April 9th. Eden Cather. You, while sleeping, feel something. A hand on your shoulder. You look up to see the blonde tresses of Rail as she holds a finger to her mouth to say,
Eden looks very confused, but he remains silent.
She whispers to you, "Meet me in my cabin in 5 minutes. See if you can wake up the half-elf girl. I trust her, too. Not so much the others." She creeps out, walking very carefully on her forefeet.
Eden takes a quick look over at Ian to see how he's sleeping.
How is Ian sleeping?
He's out like a light. He's
Okay,
unceremoniously passed out, probably face down on his bed.
Eden remembers that they didn't get to talk about his dream last night, so he's making a mental note of that. Well, he goes over to Alan's cabin. How's Alan sleeping?
Like a fucking baby.
All right, yeah. So Eden definitely has a moment of like, oh yeah, she didn't get a lot of rest last night.
She's
but,
like curled up in a little ball.
He very gingerly extends a hand and carefully shakes her.
Alan like grabs your arm and like,
Alan,
what?
Alan, Rel wants to talk to us.
I don't care about Rel. I'm dreaming about unicorns and fish, narwhals.
Okay, I mean, yeah, I'll tell her that.
You tell who what?
I will tell Rail that Alan can't come because she's dreaming about unicorns. This is very important. Eden means this unironically.
But Eden still attends this 3 a.m. meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Go ahead and move yourself.
He pokes his head into the room.
Rail is sitting on her bed, writing something in a journal. As you walk in, she closes it quickly. Close the door. Come in.
Eden does so. He closes the door very quietly and then steps in. And he says, Alan's still asleep, but I'll catch her up. What's up?
I have something important to confess to you.
Eden's suddenly wide awake.
I killed Dawn, and I would do it again.
Eden just stands there looking like a bat that got squished by a rock.
I snapped his neck. In a moment, you do feel like the bat being crushed by the rock.
Eden just says, why?
Because he was a Zentarum agent sent here to spy on you.
How do you know?
I know. We don't have much time. I have to tell you some important things. You can decide what to do with this information. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it.
Okay.
When we get to Dawngleam, I am leaving this ship behind. I will not be sailing back to Selgon with you.
Are you gonna be okay?
I feel much more confident that I'll be okay far away from this ship. But I want you to have some of this information before I go. Dawn wasn't the only Zentarum agent that you're going to find who is watching you, looking for you, deciding what to report back to his superiors. He was reporting back everything that you were doing. I don't know the mystery of what they want with you, what they want with your crew, or what they want with the ship. But I'll tell you some things that I do know. This ship isn't.
Isn't what?
It isn't.
Sorry, I think I might still be asleep. What do you mean by that?
Sometimes I feel like I'm in a waking dream too. I only tell you what I know. It's not meant to be cryptic. I just know that there is something more here to this ship. I know that it is not a vessel designed to traverse the waters of the Dragonmere. I don't know what it is, but it's not that.
Okay. Okay.
There's one other thing. The quill? You should.
Yeah.
You should get it. But whatever you do, do not give it to the Baron. Anybody else, throw it in the sea. But don't give it to him. I don't know what he wants with it, but I know that it is dark.
Huh. I mean, you've been working for the Baron and alongside Captain Barrick for a while, right?
I work for someone else entirely.
What does that mean?
I'll tell you what. Will you pass along a message for me?
To whom?
To Alan.
Yes, absolutely.
When you tell her this, you may understand a bit more about me. Tell her those that harp are never truly alone.
Okay, I hope that she will tell me what that means.
I have a feeling that she will. Now, go back to bed before people get suspicious.
Okay. Good luck. We'll miss you. Goodbye.
Good luck to you.
And then Eden very quietly, just very confusedly goes back. Not quite to bed. It's about time where he thinks he'll switch off watch with Tierney, so he'll go up to the deck to find him.
You do so. How does Eden find Tierney's demeanor on the top deck here?
Sitting cross-legged, placid, staring out at the dock.
Hey, how's your night going?
Well, it's going.
Did you see anything interesting?
I had a little chat with some of our crew.
Oh, did you? I also had a chat just now.
I would like to convene the group tomorrow so we can maybe share notes. But for
Okay.
now, I think I need rest.
I agree. You didn't see anything of note or...
Nothing more than a rat eating grain on the dock.
You often find them on docks.
For whatever reason, this one made me curious, but
Okay, well, maybe if it's close enough, I'll...
you're an animal
Oh.
person, you figure it out.
Sure. I'll keep an eye out for this rat.
Roll perception.
As Eden turns to see if he can see this rat, he rolls a 7.
You see the gray water of the Sea of Stars lapping at the rocks below the dock.
Ah, well. As I've once heard, the sea takes us all. For now, I'll just let sleep take me.
Sounds good. Sleep well.
I'm gonna go below deck.
When you come into the room, Alan will stir very slightly and she'll be like, "Don't touch my icebox!" And then, without opening her eyes or anything.
I will put the pillow over my head.
You do
Throughout
so.
the night, she'll mumble about narwhals.
Eden Cather, describe your watch style to me.
So I think Eden will be a little distracted trying to find this rat, but he is otherwise I think focused mostly on the docks to see if anybody strange comes up, and then mildly aware of whoever else might come up on the deck around him. So listening to like staircases creaking and that sort of thing.
You see, during the course of your watch, 2 figures, clad in gray. They look like common fishermen. They walk along the pier, and they study you for a long moment before resuming their path along the pier. One appears to be an older man. One appears to be a very old woman. You can't catch either of their eyes, but they seem to have a vague, curious interest in the ship. This event occurs at about 4:30 in the morning.
Does he notice if they're looking towards the mark?
Roll perception.
Dirty 20.
They are.
Eden sort of pulls him up straight and tries to look very intimidating, I suppose.
Roll intimidation. You straighten your spine, attempting to appear more imposing.
He rolls a 7.
Both the fisher people look at you. They seem to internalize something and then continue along their way. The rest of your watch is uneventful until morning. Deep in the realm of dreams, Ian Kalis, you dream, your mind swimming in red wine. You find yourself somewhere new. You find yourself face to face with yourself, but your other self seems not to notice you. He is seated at a long table. Seated to his left and right are 2 men in their early 20s, both of whom are taking notes. The 3 of them occasionally peer upward as if they are conceptualizing a new idea or taking in pieces of a demonstration. You know that the man in the middle does not quite belong in this lecture. You know this because you forged your admissions transcript. You know this because you are him and he is you. And you are guilty. You see the visage of someone, and you know at once who this is. Baal, the god that inspires hate in the heart of murderers everywhere. He is the deity of taking lives, and he appears as an aged blackguard, far from handsome, with a nose showing evidence of many breaks and a lower lip with a fat pink scar. His black heart radiates through realities here in his plainer courtroom. You find yourself wondering if the rumors that Sirik has slain Baal are, in fact, true. He speaks with a black tongue. You were guilty, Ian. You may not have immediately understood the consequences of you lying your way into the College of Waterdeep, but mankind has finite resources. You misused them. After you dropped out, That was one less battle mage that could be fielded at the Battle of Desserin Valley. As you know, that battle was fought to the last man. Baal's black eyes settle upon you, and he regards you with the pity of someone throwing a writhing, screaming sack into a river. But, Ian, you will be judged by a jury of your peers, not by me. Grint,
Yes.
you dream. You find yourself as one of many. You are reminded of a phalanx formation. You are surrounded by many dwarves just like you, and you feel a certain natural power in this. You come to realize that you are seated with 11 simulacrums of yourself in a jury box somewhere on the plane of order. You see Ian Kalis in the witness box. You notice that you are different from your likenesses. They are unarmed, but you have an executioner's longsword in your right hand. Baal speaks again. As I said, Ian, a jury of your peers. Grint has a black heart and a red blade. I can think of no better man to judge you for murder. Baal gestures to the Grints. Warbringers and cutthroats of the jury. The time has come for you to review the facts of this case and deliver a judgment. Ian Kalis forged documents to attain a position at the College of Waterdeep. Ian would have been a battle mage in the Lord's Alliance military had he completed his studies. He did not. As a direct result of this, in March of 1373...
Wait a second. Jewel disconnected. I'm sure she'll be back. This seems like it would be germane to her.
Keeping myself centered to the best of my ability.
By the way, the screen in Roll20 doesn't have any blacked out sections. I'm not exploring, but...
At this point, it shouldn't.
Okay.
You should be able to see the entire screen.
Anybody have her cell phone number? Want to text her and see if she's good?
Yes and sure.
How you gonna do me like this, Grant?
Look, I can't help it. I'm surrounded by handsome dwarves. All right, they expect much from me.
We'll give Jewel 5 minutes because there are some germane things in here. I just texted her. We'll see what that yields. While we wait for that, do you have any questions? Anything about your surroundings? Anything you'd like to crack open before Baal resumes his celestial dialogue?
Is this chronologically before the Time of Troubles or after in Faerun, or is that not canon in this campaign?
This is canonically during the Time of Troubles.
During.
Yeah, I don't know enough about the history of Faerun to know if this is something that has this already happened?
This has already happened. This happened last year.
It happened last year. Okay.
This is for my edification. I'm sure like a more mortal like Tyranny wouldn't know the difference. In the Time of Troubles, the Weave of Mystra, who is the lady who keeps in track of the magical weave between the world, was compromised because a god came and attacked her. So the High Father made all gods mortal and forced them to walk among men.
You may find yourself somewhere inside of that timeline.
During the Time of Troubles in canon in Faerun, which is not this campaign necessarily, Baal was slain by Cyric.
Which was why, did you catch a moment ago? This was referenced. This was specifically dealt with. But yes, so while we wait for Joel's return, want to talk about some FR stuff. Want to talk about the Forgotten Realms. As far as you know, Baal is dead. Why would Baal be alive? He was killed by Cyric. Cyric's black blade plunged through his heart. The Lord of Murder perished. His followers are now followers of Cyric, as far as you know.
Seems like a good guy to get killed.
When Cyric killed Baal, he took the Pantheon of Murder, which was Baal's pantheon.
I guess that makes sense. You can't really murder somebody without murdering somebody.
Cyric's kind of a jerk. People don't like him very much.
Let's continue where we were. Let's continue reviewing the evidence of. Yes, we'll need Grint to review the evidence of Ian's trial.
Okay, then.
Baal continues. Grint. As a direct result of this, in March of 1373, last spring, when the 136th Scout Regiment marched east to confront aberrations raised by necromancers, they lacked a critical spellcaster. While 206 people were dying, Ian Kalis had 2 goblets of wine and a tray of oysters. He did not finish the oysters. Baal looks at you with no hint of emotion in his red eyes, Grint. I presume that you don't need time to deliberate with your own selves, Mr. Grommel.
Well, can I interject here? This
Yes.
seems like way blown out of proportion. I mean, I just wasn't there for something I didn't know was even happening. How could I be guilty of murder? And I mean, speaking of murder, can I really be judged? I've met one of these guys. Not how many are there? And he's like, he kind of whispers, he's kind of a psycho. It's not really fair. I'm not. God, I thought I was done with these kind of dreams. At least I'm not late.
Baal smiles at you. No, Ian, you're right on time.
Well, that's ominous. I don't like that.
Mr. Grommel, you should know something. I value my executioners. Look at your right hand.
Grint looks into his right hand.
There's a sword there. It seems to have an amazing fineness to it. Holding it in your hand, you can imagine easily, yes.
Jesus.
I don't know why you have that, but yes.
Because I do.
The heft of this blade in your palm feels, one word, deadly. Baal continues. I've already made my determination. If you execute this sentence, I offer you a gift. Keep the sword. I know he's guilty of murder. I simply want you to come to the same conclusion and carry out my sentence.
Hold on a second, Grit. Like, I know we just met, but we've had pretty good time so far. You know, we did that thing. I floated you up. We got the deer.
Shh. I'm a fighter, not an executioner. And Grant throws the sword down.
We'll get you a better sword.
It creates no sound as it lands on the ground and doesn't seem to move once it touches the wood of this courtroom. The other Grints all look at you wordlessly. Ball's face is still expressionless. That's your determination, Mr. Grommel, that Mr. Kalis is not guilty of these charges simply because you don't fancy yourself an executioner.
I didn't say that. You could do trial by combat, if you like. But I won't just kill an unarmed man.
You don't think that this man is armed?
Only technically.
Grint shrugs.
His power comes from between his ears, inside of his skull. He's armed anytime you see him. Have you ever considered that, Grint? Every time he looks at you, he's looking at you with weapons out.
It's kind of nice, right?
I think of it like a sign of respect.
Hey, you want to go? You want to do this?
Me or him.
Well, no, she's talking to Ian. She's like, "You want to have a fight?"
Not really.
No. Well, there you go. He said no.
Oh, that was easier than I thought.
Mr. Grommel, I suppose he will appreciate your clemency. Admittedly, I do not.
Grint just stands there.
You do so. Both of you hold this moment for a long period of time. Eventually, the courtroom melts into nothing. The last thing you see is Ball's eyebrow slightly arched as the scene slips away and both of you mercifully fall back asleep, dreaming of nothing. Let me check, just 1 second. Let me see what's going on with Jewel. So it's a little early for this, but a couple things here are linked. Do we want to take our break now? It's a little early, but can we take a 5 now and reconvene, and hopefully we're as 5?
Let's do it.
Okay. Oh, I like this scene a lot. I like what's going on here. Perhaps should I go get a water? I think I'll get a water. But yeah, it's exactly Famari, the tried and true boss of online D&D, like ISPs and technical issues and stuff like that. So hopefully everything's okay. We'll get it sorted out. And what I'll do is I will get people arranged on the daytime deck while we do this. It looks like I just got NPCs. Where's all my players at? Let's see. There we go. Then we just need an Eden for the deck, which will be important. What did I do with my Eden Cather? See if we can track him down. I can always go back here. And there we go. Okay. The scene is super cool. Thank you. That's wonderful to hear. The mystery is unfolding. Yes, there's a lot of like I think the exposition and what I would call the prologue of this campaign was a little bit too long. So there's a few things that are unfolding now. I'm hoping that this created tension rather than drudgery. So we'll see how it unfolds from here. I like your observation, low-key claiming to be a Harper, which is a excellent way to interpret that, I think. We'll see if there's mutiny insofar. We'll see if people delve farther into the mystery of the ship and what's going on here. Sounds good. See you soon. Hello.
Hey.
I love the sword, by the way. I didn't know you possessed this item.
Yeah, it was actually a gift from a long time ago. My uncle's into replica props from movies and shit. This is actually, yeah, this is Gandalf's sword from Lord of the Rings. That's what it is.
Wizards can't use swords. What did he multi-class into? It doesn't even make sense.
I couldn't tell you.
Pretty sure he just casted light on it.
To make it more light, I don't get it.
Doesn't he just hold it up and it shines? It's pretty much.
No, that's the
weightless with it.
staff. I'm pretty sure is what because he holds the staff in one hand, the sword in the other hand.
Oh, that might be it. Either way, very cool.
I have received confirmation that what we're experiencing is just ISP issues. So hopefully we'll get this resolved in time for the break.
Good, good.
You know what you're very adept at, Lat?
What's that?
Unexpected things. I did not expect you to challenge Ian to a trial by combat.
Really?
I thought you might challenge Ball to a trial by combat.
That's what I was kind of hoping for. I was like, oh, I wonder what happened here.
I thought you might attack the Lord of Murder. I wasn't so sure that you would attack Ian.
It's more like a respectful challenge, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you want to, you know. No, okay, well, that's cool.
I mean, we're in the dream, you know. Might as well do something.
Are you completely sure that you're dreaming?
No.
Hence the panic.
Sometimes, between you and me, out of character a bit, rough. There's always these moments where I'm like, should I confer with this player ahead of time? Should we talk before this comes out? And I think the answer is almost always no. Like, no, I want it to be a surprise.
It's more fun that way.
Okay, whenever Steph returns, we can resume. We can certainly.
Here, sorry, I forgot to put my video on.
No problem. Everyone good? Everyone good to resume? Cool. When you all awaken, it is the next day. The ship is no longer moored at Serloon. You are now making good time through the Sea of Stars. Off the starboard of Sparrow, you can see distantly the landscape of Sembia turning into the dense forests of Cormyr as the ship makes its way through the Sea of Fallen Stars toward the Dragonmere. Tierney, you look perplexed. No?
Just having victory tacos.
Are we all awake? What time in the morning is it?
You are all awake. It is now noon. Everyone has gotten up. Eden's watch was, as far as you know, uneventful. You will need to convene with your party before arriving in Dawngleam about several critical things, but at the very least, you'll have to get together in the evening before you land to decide several things regarding the ship and what comestibles you will consume throughout the day. If you'd prefer to have that discussion now and at least start discussing your plans, perhaps you should. Perhaps you should get together somewhere on the ship, far be it from me to suggest where, and determine your next steps carefully.
I would like to
Welcome back.
rally the troops and one by one find everybody and meet below deck where Grint slept. If that's amenable to everybody. Should be noisy enough that nobody interlopes.
I called a chair in the corner.
I'll sit on this chest.
When you say everybody, do you mean the party? Do you tap any?
I mean the party only, not including the crew, who should be above deck, 2 decks up, or the captain's 1 deck up, but I'm just talking about him and he doesn't give a shit.
Before we do this, like as he grabs everybody. Oh well, it's noon. Never mind. I was gonna say Oh, never mind. We talked about this last time. The wheat is not edible, right? Like the grains are not edible.
Correct. There are some desiccated grains left here in the kitchen, but nothing that would be edible or provide any meaningful nutrition.
Damn it. We didn't grab food before we left. Shit.
Ian, are you coming with?
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead and show me where you convene as a party.
In Grint's room.
Location is important. Make sure your tokens are there if you're taking part in this
Yeah.
conversation.
Tierney, I think you're not in the right area. You're in like a little closet.
Yeah.
That's the locked closet. Yeah.
Oh,
That's
okay.
Harry Potter's room.
Got it. I'm here.
Let me actually, you know what? I'm sorry. You guys are on a different script. That's why I was a little bit, this is why I was a bit confused. I'm sorry. Let's do this. I was on,
Oh.
that's why I was like, you guys aren't doing anything. That's okay.
Yeah,
So
Tierney's trying to
please,
sleep in my bed. What the fuck?
please reorient yourselves.
Can we say that Eden would be here? Because I feel like he would be.
We will play it a bit by ear depending on when Jewel returns. For right now, Eden is catching a bit of a quick midday nap after he kept watch all night.
Is this where the crew is down here?
The crew is down there. The crew is, as far as you know, doing something. May require more investigation to find out what, but you hear them moving things around or doing something in the main cargo hold.
Okay. I would like to move us then to a level that does not have the crew on it. Oh, maybe above deck. It looks like nobody's there. I'm going to motion for everybody to go above deck where it's loud because of the waves and you can't hear people from one side of the ship to the other.
Everybody roll insight.
Nat 20.
8.
Current with an
24.
Big 4.
Okay. The only person that notices this is Alan. Alan, you observe something. As you are emerging from the decks of the Sparrow, looking overhead, you watch the mainsail adjust and move itself.
I feel like I would know that that means somebody is controlling the wheel.
You're welcome to infer that.
I will perceive. Uh, 17.
You look over your shoulder, and you see the ship's wheel. There's no one there. You mentally consider the workings of a ship as you've studied models of them many times. You know that the ship's wheel controls the rudder, not the sails.
Well, do I know what controls the sails?
You do. A series of ropes.
Is anybody doing anything with the ropes?
Not that you can see.
That seems very peculiar. I'm gonna walk around the perimeter of the deck before we begin our conversation. And I whisper that to Tierney as well.
You whisper what?
Tierney, I'm going to take a quick spin around the edge of the deck just to make sure. I noticed the sails readjusting themselves, which is peculiar considering someone would have to do that. So I walk around the, you can't see where I'm pointing, but anyways, I walk the deck.
So how did everybody sleep? Ian, I woke you up last night and you almost bit my head off. What's up with that?
Oh, I'll be honest, I don't really remember that. I was kind of in a hit. I was in a little too deep.
You're a deep sleeper.
Yes.
Is there anything you
Like,
want to tell me?
I'll be honest, I had a little too much wine. I don't.
Oh, you were
I was
drunk.
out
Yeah.
like 11.
Okay, fair enough. I will grunt here over here up.
Oh. Hey, Grin, I got a question for you.
Mm.
You got any brothers? Like 12 of them or something like that?
No, got a lot of cousins though.
Whew, okay. Wait. Is there such thing as identical cousins?
Maybe.
Are
You
you
don't have
saying all dwarves look the same?
It's kind of insensitive.
God, I don't think so. Just wait. There's something in that wine. Just watch whatever the captain gives you.
Yeah, good idea. Grant's just like, good God.
Is Alan back from reconnoitering the deck?
Alan, I believe you've completed your round. You walked around the deck and you were looking for what exactly? What are you attempting to discern? What is your theory?
I would say that she was interested because at this point she doesn't know anything about the Rel situation. So I would say that at this point she's still very on high alert because of Dawn, and there was really not enough proof to pick anyone. So the fact of the matter is magic exists, and if somebody is wandering around under an invisibility cloak, that's not out of the realm of possibility. So I would say she would have been looking around for things that are moving in a way or in a manner that would make sense if somebody were moving them and not on their own.
You study the ship. You attempt to discern things that are moving of their own volition or something that's out of place. For example, if someone was using, as you said, an invisibility cloak and manipulating the world in a way that you couldn't see. You notice a variety of things moving on the ship. The ropes move, but it's hard to see if this is just friction and the natural movement of the wind catching the ship or somebody manipulating it. It's hard to get the thought out of your mind that there's something more going on here.
Tierney.
Yes.
One, I can't see your face anymore, and I'm not sure if I'm blind or if your camera's not working.
Let me dip out of consciousness 1 second.
Two, something doesn't seem right up here. I say that we go down to our bed chambers and just pick a room and pile in to talk.
Fine. Let's go.
Okay.
I will lead everyone back to the room that I slept in.
We can all sit Indian style on our beds.
It's,
Grant will close the door.
You do so. It's musty and a bit sweaty in here. The ship moves slightly and everybody's sitting Indian style. If you are in fact doing so, you have a hard time keeping friction as the ship sways with the natural movement of the sea.
Grant goes, what the fuck are we doing?
We're just talking.
Okay.
Privately.
Last night, Grit and I met with the captain. He spoke frankly to us. I tried to wake Ian up, but he did not want to be woken up, and Alan, you needed a night's sleep because I didn't know what the day held.
Thank you, Tierney.
We all need to be at full strength. The captain gave us the option of removing the mark from the ship's side. The upside of this, if we do remove it, it'll indicate that the Zent hasn't searched our ship. The downside of this is the captain, he brought some contraband on board. I don't know what it is. I don't really care about the repercussions of this because it doesn't apply to me.
Do we think that maybe leaving it on will make the Zentarum think that this ship has already been searched and then they won't want to search it again? Or do we think that it'll just make it easier for them to get on and search again?
Well, the ease of them searching, he illuminated to us, was the nature of our resistance.
Got it. So why don't we leave it on so that they can see it's been searched, and then if they try to board, we can say, no, you can see that our ship has been searched.
The downside is we go into what is a pirate town, a lawless place. A mark on our ship indicates that we were too weak to repel anybody who might board our ship.
I
Isn't
see.
Isn't the point of having like a captain with shady connections to kind of grease some palms with those shady connections so we don't get bent over when we get into port?
If he's competent, I
Might be a
Out of-
big if.
Out of character question. I would have sailed multiple times into Cormyr and out of Cormyr. In the past, would I have recalled us leaving a mark on or taking it off?
This system is unknown to you. You are unfamiliar with using marks as a way to denote, visits onto the ship. This is a system unknown in Cormyrian custom, which is far more formal and works off of ship registries.
I see. So, although I've traveled to Cormyr back several times, many times, I've never known them to mark your ship. So at this point, I don't know if it's a custom we should do and move forward with, or if we should remove it. Although it shows that we were weak, maybe it just shows that we were willing to let them look because there's literally nothing there. I think that it's a tough call.
Well, we have to decide collectively. Certainly, if somebody else wanted to board our ship, they would have ample reason. That's the idea.
Yeah, I get the feeling that if we, it's all right. It's like if you go into, I don't know, like a tavern or something like that, and somebody wants to pick a fight. If you back off, they're just gonna bully you the whole time. If we
I
get rid of the
Exactly.
mark, maybe we force the captain to actually do something useful and use his connections and maybe help us out because he wasn't here last time, so we didn't know what to do. But he's here now.
I would be most interested to see him squirm.
I'm also interested to know why the crewmates did not try and stop the Zentarum from boarding.
They seem a bit feckless.
They're not wrong. So is that the resolution then, or the conclusion? Do
Yes.
we want to just remove it? So who is removing it? Because
We're gonna have to do it collectively.
oh, you know what? Ian has that water thing that he does. Why can't he just wash it?
Why can't he just levitate one of us?
That's a thing. Oh, that's right. That's right.
We already saw
do
Ian's
that.
prowess in levitation earlier on this trip. Seems
I'm-
pretty plain.
I'm 1 for 2.
What does
Great
that
if you
mean?
want to try those odds again, never mind. But we try a couple different things. I could try washing it first.
I prefer to succeed than try. I don't want one of us to be dropped into the ocean
Well,
while
that's why maybe
the
we
boat is traveling.
just in case try the other stuff first.
We also have rope. We can tie somebody
we
up
do
with a
have
rope in case they fall. I'm sure we could get them back up.
It's a ship. They're supposed to have man overboard plans anyway.
This ship is supposed to have a lot of things.
True, like food.
Why don't we fare for ourselves? Oh, speaking of food, Alan, did you end up catching any fish?
Well, I had the sunfish and a catfish, and I did make us some food. I feel kind of bad though because we only have 4 pieces. I know Eden's taking his cat nap, but I don't
Well,
know.
We
I
are
feel
going
some
to need
sort
to
of way.
eat on some level and keep our strength up.
Well,
Ian has good
yeah.
berries.
True. Okay. And I opened the lid to the ice box, and I grabbed my own piece and have that.
What exactly is it that you have?
The fish wrapped in kelp, and it's good for a full day, so we'll all be filled up with actual sustenance.
It's breakfast.
It's midday. It's noon o'clock.
It's brunch.
Fish brunch. But yes, I cooked up some fish fillet wrapped in kelp with a little seasoning.
Better than a berry.
True.
Does it taste good?
I would hope so.
Only one way to find
Does it
out.
taste good?
It tastes oily and kelpy. You lack proper seasonings, so it would best be described as substantive. These are large fish fillets. They are meaty, certainly not delicious. The flavoring of kelp gives it sort of a single note. Everything here is of the sea.
I've paid money for worse, so I can't complain about this for free.
Nay.
If you ate a
Well, I
good...
did what I could.
You did. You did by your reckoning, you did an admirable job. Certainly, it's the only hot meal, even though it's currently been chilled down, that anyone has been able to prepare insofar. During the discussion about the berries of yesterday, all of you came to this conclusion separately. Tierney, Ian, Alan. Everyone here except for Grint. After eating the good berry, you realize that your stomach was gnawing at itself all day. You feel a sense that the good berry can satiate your hunger, but not your belly, and you again have concerns about long-term consumption of insubstantiate food.
Speaking of food, I have these mushrooms, and I'm still curious as to what they do. I'm too scared to cook them, but they look good, but I'm on the fence about them. Anybody good at nature stuff?
Our nature person is asleep.
Did you find him in a cave?
Mm-mm.
Eh.
Could just try feeding them to your least favorite crewmate.
True. We could do that. Barrick absolutely is my least favorite.
Kind of on board with that, but we
Mushrooms
do probably need him.
You know, I don't know. I think Ro would help us. I honestly think Ro could do it herself. But that's just me.
Don't we think she killed somebody though?
I'm on the fence about it.
Who railed? No, I think it's the crew members.
Oh, I thought it was Rail.
Well, I feel pretty confident, but I am open to new evidence.
You seem like you've done this before, so I'll just cede to your.
Ian, I think you need a little bit more confidence. Also, I don't want to get levitated by you once you say you're not sure it's going to work.
Worked fine 2 nights ago.
It worked
Exactly.
fine on
This
Grin.
guy's got confidence.
So was there anything else that we needed to discuss?
I was hoping that Eden would be here to assail us of what happened during her watch, but alas, no. So let's take the mark off. I'll let the captain know.
I do want to bring one thing up. Okay, I feel like it's important we get this out on the table.
You're not in love with Eden, are you?
No, I was gonna say.
Excuse me?
I don't know. They pal around a lot. I was.
We've been on the ship for 2
Sorry.
days.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
Anyway, I don't like, and stop me if you're one of them,
Don't you dare say dwarves. It's very mean.
working with the Zen.
I don't
Oh.
like working with the Zed. Why is that?
I've heard a lot of bad things, and I'm starting to see a lot of bad things. And I'm not
Like what?
saying shaking us down, weird illegal smuggling things.
I can absolutely say that you're on the right track with that.
I'm not saying I'm gonna do anything or stop anybody, but it might be in our best interest to try to be on the up and up.
Nobody likes the Zentarim.
Listen, I just feel like it's important to get this out on the table because we're kind of agreeing to doing stuff with them.
They're paying us.
Yes.
Not really.
No?
We're getting paid by the Baron. Was the Baron a Zed? Did I miss that? We're getting paid by the Baron.
taking
I wouldn't
something
be surprised.
from
I guess he might be. My God, is it Zent all the way down?
Nobody likes the Zent. We work with them because they're powerful and they have money, and we feel like we can get something out of the exchange.
Okay, I can live with that. I just wanted to make it clear that I don't like them.
Hey,
And,
they're a bunch of deceptive little shits.
Okay, just so we're all on
Reality
the
is not
more or less the
predicated
same
upon your likes and dislikes. Although I have noted it, I don't think it will change our course. Do we agree?
Well, just at some point, I think that maybe a moral decision is important. Like, if the Zent are like, "Hey, go kick these puppies," I'm probably gonna be like, "Maybe we can get out of this one."
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Yay, Fred!
Perfect. Just in time for our powwow.
As Eden Cather. Hi. Oh, let's try that again. Eden Cather. Hey.
You're muted.
Sorry, I just sat down after
Welcome
installing a new router.
No problem. Welcome back.
Oh no!
I'm happy you're back.
Thank
Welcome back,
you.
friend. We missed you.
I missed you too.
We just had a group powwow.
Eden,
Okay.
you find yourself, your watch proceeded relatively uneventfully. And after the ship set sail in the morning, you could not resist the urge to catch a quick nap as the ship set sail. You are awakened by a sudden jolt as the ship moves slightly under a rough wave. You find yourself awake and alone on the deck of the ship.
Should he took a nap on the deck?
Where
Sure,
would,
there's a nice sunny spot. Dreaming about being a cat.
curled up
Eden
in a
will
shadow,
go.
sure.
Eden will go find his buddies. It looks way past his watch time.
At this point, I'd be heading upstairs to go try and do another fish.
I just want to, just before we split up, just put this out there. At some point, they might ask us to do something that's a little too far. That's all.
So then we just kill
Something
them.
significant,
Oop.
impactful.
I typically say yes, I'm going to do it, and then I just don't do it.
Very crafty.
Okay.
Eden, I would like to know how your watch went before we disperse.
Eden, you hear the sounds of a argument about morals from inside one of the cabins on the second deck. It would be hard to not notice where your companions have ended up during your brief respite. You hear them behind the door.
Oh, good. You're all here with Alan. Just who I was looking for.
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
I always feel special when you say that.
Oh, well. Well, first of all, Tierney, the watch went well. I noticed some fisher people, but they didn't seem to pay us much mind. Although they were very curious about the mark that we have on the side of our ship.
For sure, people at 4 in the morning.
Well, fish are very active first thing in the morning.
Fair enough.
Wait, is that a real thing? Have I been missing this the entire time?
It is a real thing.
Yes.
Wow. Fuck me then.
Well, you needed sleep. That's fine too.
Nobody told me. I've been trying to fish this whole time.
Speaking of nobody telling you things, I was woken up last night by Rail, who I assume is no longer on the ship.
No, she's here.
Okay.
would be News to
Well,
us.
she won't be once we land in Dawngleam, and Eden steps into the room and makes his voice very quiet.
Why?
Well, she woke me up last night to confess something, which is that she's the one who killed the navigator.
What?
Excuse me.
Oh,
She says that he was an agent of the Centaurum and was watching us. And I suppose to defend everybody, well, I can't speak for why she did it, but she did it, and she told me, and she seemed very both unapologetic and said that it was the right thing to do. But she specifically had wanted to talk to Alan because she had kind of a strange message to pass on. I don't know, something about harping. Not all who harp are alone.
Interesting.
We'll take it.
I once knew someone
take
who
it.
played the harp, but I don't know how she would know that.
Hmm.
Well, she seemed to think that it would mean something very significant to you.
I will talk to her alone and see if I can maybe get some more information out of her. Why don't we keep this information on the down low for right now? And I will find and pry a little more into the Zentarum thing, considering the fact that she only wanted you to tell me.
No, I think she was okay with me telling all of you. But when she woke me up, she had specifically said that she trusted you, Alan.
I see. So she said she trusted me, but she didn't say she trusted the others. And you
Right.
think that it would be okay for you to spill the beans about her killing someone to everybody? I don't know. I don't know if I'm telling you any secrets, Eden.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what? I am feeling very confident about that levitation about now, though.
Although I do want to say, Ian,
There you
were
go,
right.
Ian.
You solved the puzzle. Tyranny thought so with somebody else on deck, and I just didn't. I wasn't jumping to any conclusions about who killed my dude.
Well, I'm just relieved that that means we're unlikely to be murdered randomly in the middle of the night.
True, but at the same time, getting to know Dawn a little bit. Zentarum? I don't know. He seemed like more of a just a follower. He seemed like he was scared shitless of his own shadow.
Good
Steph-
cover, yeah?
Steph is very
Yeah,
insightful.
I guess. Yeah, true. You're not wrong.
Yeah, the other guy we met was pretty weird, too.
Which one?
I'm not that weird.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I would never say
I
that
think
about you.
the reason why I wanted to tell everybody, I think, is because she wasn't quite clear on why the Zentarum agent was here, but she did say that he was watching us. I don't know if she meant somebody specifically, but that seemed like
That's
it seemed
also
like a
very
good thing to
insightful.
warn
That's a very good take.
everybody, not knowing.
That's a very good take because
might
I was
be
trying to be
hunted
very
by the
vague about that.
Zentarum, that they are indeed after us as a group.
So, how do you know she was telling the truth?
I don't.
How
She
do we
seemed
know
very earnest.
she's
but-
not a Zentarum agent?
I tell you what, Alan.
I'll find out.
You're going to talk to Rail. While you're talking to her, I'll wait a little bit. I'll wait outside. A fair distance away where I can't hear you. And I'll send you a message.
Okay. Like on my phone?
What's the phone? Anyway, you should be able to hear me. If you respond with something to the effect of help, only I will be able to hear.
Am I responding out loud?
Whisper it.
Whisper it. Okay. So how about I'll say, oh snap.
Okay, if that's what you want. Either way, let me know when you go in.
I feel like that's discreet enough.
Alan, do you trust Rail?
I don't know. I have only known her for a few days. She seemed kind, so I mean, I had an idea that she may have been the one to kill him honestly, because I was up and nobody else was on the deck and I didn't hear any struggle. So I had an idea, but I didn't want to accuse anyone without proper evidence.
Either way, she does not plan to stick around, so...
Well, let me go have a conversation with her, and now we'll go from there, I guess. Why don't but for the rest of us, we probably shouldn't say anything to anyone else in the crew, especially the captain, until we have a clear understanding of what exactly happened. Also, the captain is in with the Zentarum, it sounds like, so...
No.
The captain said if he caught who was responsible for the killing, he would kill them,
Let's
as
not
is
do that.
reasonable with maritime tradition.
Yeah,
It
I
seemed
mean...
more like just a normal captain thing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but let me at least get some more information before we run and try and kill someone else.
One of the three of you, and I'll point at Eden, Grint, and Ian, work on the mark on the side of the ship. And I'll watch our
Did
flank.
we decide to do something with it?
I think we're going to remove it. Okay.
Sounds
Eden.
like a plan.
There's a mark on the side of the ship.
Does
No,
anybody
I've seen it.
know
I've seen it,
where
yes.
the navigator was sleeping?
Yeah, they said that when we were questioning them. This is why I thought it was Rayo, right? He was sleeping in her room, she was sleeping in the captain's room. His stuff was in her room. And that's where we found like everything, basically.
Perhaps
Like his logbook and
we
everything.
should
Remember,
check
it was
where
weird
he
that
was
the logbook
sleeping.
was. So her bed?
Perhaps see if he left something behind.
Well, we did, and it was a logbook.
There might be more.
Okay.
It seems just a little bit convenient. That's all I'm saying.
Did the captain appear to be covering for the navigator at all?
He didn't know she did it. I told him that I thought the crew did it, and he didn't seem to believe me.
But in the sense that he might have been an agent of the Centaurum, and you said the captain might be in league with them.
Well, I think everyone's an agent of the Zentarum at this point, so...
Get the feeling the captain's in league with anybody who'll pay his bar tab.
The Zentarum will only move against us if they find us to be an enemy. Could be any one of you, for all I'm concerned.
It's not me.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you. There's
just
that
what he would
confidence.
say.
Regardless, I'm not too worried about it for now.
Okay. I don't know if enemy is the right word either, considering how friendly the navigators seem to be towards us, but I have no idea why the Centaurum could be watching us, so...
If it suits their designs, I don't know what their designs are. I'm sure if they're watching us, they value us alive more than dead. I'm sure if they valued us dead, we'd already be there.
I got more of a scared of getting stabbed by Grint vibe than a friendly vibe from him. But to be fair, I mean,
Most people do.
I can completely understand.
Yeah.
You can be in the Zentarum and be afraid of Grit still.
Alright, well, I guess we'll work on the mark, while Tierney and Alan go try to find us some more information. One of us could search the bed, I guess, if we wanted to.
Let's start with the mark. We got all day, right? What else are we going to do on a ship? I already cleaned them out of their gold, so it was one. It was just one.
Sounds about
Alan,
right.
when you talk to her, will you determine whether we should give, I guess it's her warhammer that we found, the weapon, under the captain's bed?
Interesting. I'll find out. I'll dig a little deeper into the warhammer and see if it was hers or not.
I would
You found the
highly
hammer?
I would highly suggest keeping this.
Let me see it.
It seems like an extreme trust exercise to give the murder weapon back to the murderer.
Actually, let me take that with me so I can let her know that I know.
We're really just ratcheting up the levels of trust here.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I can kill her on my own if I need to.
Do you want a... You know what? Tyranny will be near, right? So yeah.
Yeah.
I
So-
can kill her if I need to.
Please don't.
That's not the plan, but I feel like I need to dig deeper into this because it does seem like, at least from what we saw when he died, she had emotion around it, but not in a way where she, it didn't seem like she wanted to kill him.
Well, he could have been undercover for a very long time. They have been sailing together for a while.
True. So, I don't know. The best thing to do is just probe, find more information,
I'm just curious how she figured out that he was an agent.
and I will find that out.
Or maybe he figured out she was an agent.
Potentially.
Well, yeah, she did say that she's working for somebody else, but she didn't specify who.
I'll find
Probably
that
don't need
out.
to think too much about that. But one thing we are being very stupid about, if you're going to go talk with her, that's when we should check that room. She'll be busy, right?
She'll be
Let's
in
do that
the room.
first.
I
Yeah.
believe
You think
she's
it'll be in
there
the room?
now.
Well, get her out of the room.
Okay. Let me first say, please do not give up the best weapon that we have when we go into a battle.
I'm right here.
He's right there.
Second best weapon that we have.
Sword's right here.
Second
kinda
best
hoping you were
weapon
more
that
of a
we
mace guy.
have.
I'm sorry.
Thank you,
I'm
Grant,
trying
for
to
your
laugh that
input.
way. Oh,
What the
God.
hell's that supposed to mean?
This part's so
Um,
funny.
I believe we're going to need it more than her.
Wow.
Yes.
Regardless, I'll be waiting nearby. And I'll message you a few times and see what happens. All right, let's
Okay.
disperse and do
I'm
the
down.
whatever the fuck.
Okay. It's the three of us will wait at the stairs so we can see her room. If you get her out of the room and go somewhere else, we'll go into the room and check it. And if not, we'll go deal with the mark. Right? Easy?
We're
Mhm.
searching her room and not the navigators.
What,
No, the
that's-
navigators.
Oh, we're doing. Oh, well, then,
Maybe
yeah,
I was wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe I thought it was the
I
navigators.
thought we were going to check her room for stuff the navigator.
Well, okay, you can check her room. I'll check the navigator's room.
Okay.
All right.
Do we know which one the navigator's room is? I don't.
Just look
I could-
around.
It's probably the empty one, I guess. But
It's one of the ones with the green beds.
I can't resist. I'm so happy about this.
Anyways, I'm gonna go find her.
break.
As you wish. So the party splits into two subgroups. I have Alan and Tierney, and I have Grint, Ian, and Eaton. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Indeed.
And the first to act, if I follow your procedure here, is you're going to. So first, it's going to be Alan and Tierney going to approach Rail, and the other three of you are in a contingency state waiting. Is that right?
Yeah, but Tierney's not coming in with me. He's probably gonna, I would say,
I'll wait in the cabin that I slept in.
okay.
Go ahead and move yourselves and attempt to execute on your plan.
It is midday, so I mean, I'm gonna check. I would guess I would check her room first because that's the only place that's solely hers. It would make the most sense to check there.
From outside in the hall, as you approach her quarters, you can hear her inside humming something and writing with a quill. You hear the sounds of human activity from inside her cabin.
Is the door closed or open?
It's cracked. It's about 70% open.
All right. I go over to the door and I kind of peer in and with just like my middle finger knuckle, just kind of like tap a few times.
She looks up, and seeing you, she smiles a little and touches the side of her head. She nods at you.
So I heard that you knew my friend who played the harp.
She takes a moment, as if to judge your intent, and says, "Yes, I know him well.
Shall I come in?
Please do."
I go in and I shut
Close
the door.
As you do so, she nods.
May I sit with you?
I'd like it if you did.
All right. Alan sits on the bed Indian style.
You do so. Rail quietly closes her journal and puts it underneath her pillow.
So, I've come into some news. Dawn, Zentarum, huh?
Correct.
How did you find this information?
She looks at the door for a moment, as if to make sure that no one is listening before responding. She responds in an even and quick tone. "Yes, Alan. Dawn was a Zentarum agent. He was tasked by the Zent to follow your group. I don't know why. I don't know who in particular they were looking for, but they have designs to keep an eye on this group of people.
Interesting.
You should know that I didn't kill him to save all of you, but I recognize that our interests are likely aligned."
From what you and I have discussed, it seems that way. Although, how did you know?
How did I know that he was a Zentarum agent?
No, how did you know that I have a friend who plays the harp.
May I ask you a question by means of an answer, Miss Vaughn?
Sure, I'm intrigued.
Have you ever looked someone in the eye and seen their soul?
I do believe that I have. Not many have what it takes.
Then you know how I know.
All right. I saw something in you the first night on the ship. Something a little different than everyone else, so I didn't suspect you, but I didn't have enough time.
You correctly discerned that I was both an ally and a killer.
Well, I guess it was a tricky one, but why kill him and not why not just, you know, I don't know how else to I don't know how else we would have handled that other than just getting him to port and losing him. Why kill him?
He was alone. No one would see.
That's true, but he was just a kid. Not young, but he was young enough that we could have turned him.
Did you know that the Zentarum start recruiting in school?
Where at?
Everywhere. There is, as the influence of Cormyr has waned, what has flowed into that power vacuum is truly vile. And it is the duty of all of us to fight it any way that we can.
We have so many causes, don't we?
Many causes, many names, but always one fight.
Yeah. Growing up in Cormyr, it's sad to see the way that it's fallen.
When we get there, it will truly break your heart.
Well, sometimes you have to put your own emotions aside and push on.
As you say, I think you should go back to your group before we arouse too much suspicion.
Speaking of my group, I want to roll insight on. I want to roll insight on the conversation we just had, and to me, through our conversation, it feels very genuine. But I kind of want to discern whether or not she is being truthful, or if she just somehow knew I was a harper based on word.
You are attempting to discern the veracity of her explanation there via insight. Is that correct? You're trying to, you're looking her in the eye. You're looking Rail in the eye and saying, "Are you a liar?" Is that right?
Yeah, basically.
You can roll insight.
Nine.
You have a feeling that she lies about a lot, but this seems true enough to you, as far as you can reckon.
All right. So as far as my group goes, you seem to have told the one with the biggest mouth.
Do you mean she pauses and lets the pause extend?
If you wanted everyone to know, you told the right person.
Sometimes the messenger is more important than the message.
Yeah, you're not wrong. What I can say here is that, without a doubt, I hate Barrick, and the other two are just as bad. I would easily defend you over the others.
I would like to jump in and message. My timer just went off on my phone.
Okay.
Everything okay? You don't have to answer.
I don't.
Continue.
So like I was saying, I would absolutely fight for your cause, but our cause, I should say. One thing though, Eden made it clear that you said that you're leaving and you're not traveling back with us. I'd like to know why and where you're going.
There's a lot that I can tell you, Miss Vaughn. I can't tell you that because I don't know yet, but I have a feeling that you'll see me again. This isn't the end of our road together.
Well, I'm high up the food chain, so I'll see you somewhere, eventually, when the new people arrive.
She nods silently.
Find me whenever you're around.
I shall, friend.
I'll go back to the party at this point.
Roll insight.
Roll insight.
Yes. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Roll perception.
9.
You notice that she has crow's feet at the corners of her mouth.
What do I... So what?
That's what you noticed. Tierney Fang, you haven't heard anything via your internal message queue in quite some time. You sense great quiet amongst the planes.
I will walk up and down the hallway to make sure there's still any commotion happening in that room.
You hear a quiet conversation.
That's enough for me. I'll go back to the room, and I will wait patiently, leaning on my new staff.
I will have walked out at this point, and I'll catch up with Tierney in the room.
You do so.
Suffice to say, you believed her?
Yep.
Checking in with team removal of the mark here on the deck of the ship. You see the bow of the Sparrow cleaving through wave after wave. You're heading toward shallower waters, toward the Dragonmere. What is your plan of attack?
That's what I want to know.
Why don't we try washing it first?
With what?
Like me? Check it out. And then he'll shape water to splash water on it.
Grant looks at the water and then looks back up and he goes, "There's water hitting the boat all the time."
Not on the paint.
Yeah, on the paint.
Your torrent of water rushes across but does not remove the red paint.
I also feel like Grant would know that salt water is pretty corrosive. So they're going to need some pretty heavy-duty shit to get that mark off, I would imagine.
Well, the captain offered that we could do it. Why don't we just ask the captain?
Oh, okay. Grant will run downstairs to the captain.
Barrick is in his quarters, drumming his hand nervously on his dresser.
Is his door closed?
His door is open.
Damn. All right. Grant just comes in through the
You barge.
barges in. Yeah, sure. He says, "Hey, what do we use to get rid of the mark?"
He looks down at you. Ah, my diminutive friend has an inquiry.
Hey,
There's a lot of things. I would scrape it off.
with what?
What can you find? I see you've got a sword, right? Swords can scrape, swords can cut.
So this sword's for scraping people.
Well, unfortunately, the mark was put there by people, but is not people itself.
I assume you've had one of these on your boat before.
You assume correctly, Lord Grommel.
So how did you get rid of it?
Well, we've used a variety of tools in the past. I once had a deckhand go over with a dagger. It took him almost an hour. We've used sandpaper. We've used brushes meant for cleaning the deck of the ship. I'm sure you can find something if you don't want to get paint on your nice piece of steel there.
I sure don't.
You point us to the brushes.
Well,
Like makes the most sense.
yes, that's what.
So they're on deck.
Okay. Grant goes back up to look for the brushes.
You find various implements that could be used for cleaning the deck of the ship. There is a stiff wire brush that you think could probably take paint off if you had to.
Grant will pick it up.
You do so.
He will tie some rope to his waist.
I was just going to suggest that.
And then he will, I assume the mark is at the front of the ship, so he's going to tie it to the sail, the little mast. Yeah.
How high is it? Is it like lean over?
It's over.
Distance?
It's over the side. You wouldn't be able to just lean over. It's about 5 feet below the.
That's what I figured. Okay.
Yeah, you'd have to get down there somehow. Eden and Ian, you see this rope around Grint's waist, and it seems a bit precarious.
Like a. Maybe we should double rope it.
Double
Double
rope.
rope.
That's a good idea. Yes.
What?
Well, I don't want to have to levitate you.
Why not?
So I can only do it every so often.
What else are you going to do with it?
I don't know what. If we get into trouble, have it available.
If I get in the water, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
For some strange reason, I'm feeling somewhat indebted to you today. So you know what? You've convinced me. I will go ahead and levitate you.
Good idea.
Where'd
So-
this deck come from?
Grint is going to hop over the side and just like hold on to the what do you call it? The side of the ship, basically.
You're holding on to the railing, sort of where
Yes.
the tie. Yes, you can hold on. Every time the ship moves, it requires that you really hold your grip. Go ahead and roll athletics.
Don't mind if I do.
Ian will answer. Well, did Eden ask that? I had a weird dream.
23 athletics.
You hold.
Do I?
Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna. I can't. So levitate's an action, so I couldn't like levitate if you started falling. Right? That'd be more of like a.
A reaction.
Yeah.
So
You could levitate as a reaction, I believe.
I would say in this case, we could cross this bridge and we come to it with a sequence of actions. So,
Or if nothing else, Grint could like fall in the water, be levitated out of the water, correct?
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't want to like not use it if I would need to use it ahead of time.
Grint Grommel, as you clutch the side of the ship here, you remember that you're wearing armor.
That's correct.
You come to realize that if you did fall in the water, that rope may make you into more of an anchor than a buoy.
Unless I climb back up it. Grint's feeling pretty confident about that.
He is.
Ian's gonna go over to the ledge and like he's gonna hang on to the rope, just in case. Not that he could really do anything, but he's gonna like be there to help if he could grab it or keep an eye on him.
Grint's gonna see this and he's gonna go, "You got gloves?"
Ooh.
No. But I need to see if you fall.
It's true, but you don't want to grab the rope if you ain't got gloves.
Oh, God, he's right.
Okay. Good to know.
All right. So holding on, can I? Which I did spectacularly, by the way. Would I be able to reach down and scrape the mark off? How big is the mark?
It is 2 lines. It is an X. Each is about 2 feet long. Someone took a paintbrush and went.
Okay. I'd
You
like to begin
could,
scraping it off.
you
How do
could.
I?
Well, it's going to start with you're going to have to let go with one hand.
Right. That's what I thought that was for. The athletics check was for holding on with one hand and scraping.
Oh, you're holding on with 2 hands. You want to do this with one hand? Let's roll that athletics at disadvantage.
Fair enough. $14.
You use which hand scrapes, which hand holds.
Right hand holds, left hand scrapes.
Is Grant right-handed?
He is indeed.
You use your right hand to hold on to the railing of the ship. The musculature of your right arm flexes as you hold yourself up against the hull of the ship. You use your left hand to start to scrape off paint. You do so, and one half of it comes off in big red peeling chunks of paint. There is still the other half.
Okay. What do you want me to roll to do the next part?
Same thing. Athletics at disadvantage.
Okay. $15.
You continue to hold on with your right hand, and you scrape using this wire brush at the paint. You complete this job, and you watch as strips of red paint fall into the ocean and get churned into the wake of the ship. The hull is now, as far as you know, unmarked.
Yay. Grant will try to hoist himself back up.
You feel a immense tug on the rope, Ian.
Ian will look over and offer his hand to help.
You do so.
Grant will basically take the brush and I assume there's railing, right? So he can just chuck the brush between the railing and then with his left hand take his hand and get up.
You can throw this cheap wire brush back onto the deck, and you can take Ian's hand, which you do.
Yes.
And Ian, you pull him back up over the railing.
As best as Ian can. He's not the strongest person.
But you're able to do so by working together with your, I don't know, what word best describes, how does Ian view Grint? If you had to assign a word to it, what would that word be?
I think it was psychopath. Is that what I heard?
He says a lot of things. He doesn't always mean them. He's a companion.
You help your companion back onto the ship. Grint Grommel, you feel good again with your feet on something solid. Eden Cather, you notice all of this.
Eden's supervising.
He's helping.
Yeah.
The ship continues its movement through the Sea of Stars. You have an opportunity as a party to convene if you see fit, or do you feel that you have exhausted all available inquiries with each other?
Do we want to...
Tierney and I need to have a conversation.
I would say that you do. Would you like to pick that up where you left off? Shall we rotate back to the other team here?
I think that'd be a good idea.
You do so. You feel once again spotlighted by Mistra.
So Tierney, Rael did indeed kill Dawn. I guess he was hired, even though he was much younger, to follow us around and kind of keep tabs on us and what we learn and find. It's a little hard to believe because he was very shy, I would say.
Now, wouldn't you say that would be a good cover for a Zentarum agent?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. kind of I still feel bad for him, but what I can say is that Rail is a trusted ally. I can't go much farther than that into detail, but I can tell you she's a trusted ally.
So you trust her.
I do.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't trust many, for what it's worth.
Right. Well, it's good that we can trust somebody on the ship. I am going to talk to the captain and inform him that we're taking the mark off of the ship.
Okay. And can we agree that we're not going to give the captain indication of who killed Dawn and that we know?
Yes.
I feel like this is a conversation we need to have with Grint.
I don't think Grant is much for talking, period.
Not necessarily. He was the first one to walk into the bar and say, "Hey, Captain, your guy's dead."
You're not wrong. All right, why don't you deal with Grant and I'll deal with the captain?
I don't think Grint likes me.
I don't think Grant likes anybody.
I've picked on him a bit. I don't know if I'm the best one to have this conversation. Maybe Ian. Ian's
I will talk to the captain and I will talk to Grant.
okay. Thanks, El Capitan.
I will deviate and head to the captain's quarters.
I will go talk to Eden about his loose lips.
Why don't both of you roll initiative to determine which one will resolve first?
A natural 20 again.
I will just let you go first.
As you wish.
Oh, and I find Ian too. Look at that.
You find here on the deck, you catch the last glimpses of Grint hoisting himself up over the edge of the ship with Ian's help.
Oh, there you all are. Did we accomplish our goal of ridding the ship of the red mark?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grant, you okay?
Yep.
Very good, very good. Eden, I'd like to have a word with you.
Sure.
Downstairs, please.
All right, I will follow you then.
We go to Eden's room instead of my room because I feel like it might be a little more comforting to them. The Eden.
Yeah.
I literally can't because I'm looking at your face.
No, that's fine. I think gender. What is gender
Right? I'm like,
to a druid, especially?
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
What can I help you with, Alan? Did the conversation go all
So
right?
so Eden, yes, the conversation went well. What I can say is that Rail is a trusted ally, and I mean that with everything. I can tell you that I 100% know she's a trusted ally. With that being said, and with you being a member of the party and I trusting you as well, when someone says, "I don't trust everybody else, but I do trust one person,"
Yes.
typically you don't tell everyone what they told you.
I suppose. I mean, in this instance, it felt like everybody might be in danger, but I guess she said something that not everybody was supposed to know.
Well, it seems, Grint also is very loose with his lips, and he immediately told the captain in a bar that his navigator was killed. So, to expose who had done that in front of everyone, including him, puts everyone at risk, and especially Rail. Without being able to determine, if she was an ally or not, this puts her in a lot of risk and in harm's way.
That's true. I suppose I was coming at it from the perspective of thinking we were all one crew, but That
You're quick to
seems
trust, aren't
dangerous
you?
now. I'm what? Sorry?
I said you're quick to trust.
I've not been given much reason not to at this point.
I don't trust many people.
Why?
I have reason not to.
That's fair.
Don was a Zentarum. He seemed like a nice kid.
I mean, that said, you don't know why the Zentarum are after us, right?
I mean, from what I understand from each of us, we were selected for a reason to board this ship, whether it is actually to go get an artifact or if it is to find a way to kill us all. I don't know yet. But I'm going to make the most of our journey, and I'm hoping that, and seems like we are all on the same page, that we don't plan on bringing this artifact back to the Baron. We plan on doing our own thing, and I don't plan on selling it, so
Oh, can
by
I ask why you agreed to come on this journey?
gave me a chance to come back to Cormyr. I'm from Cormyr, and not only that, but with everything that's going on, being an archivist, there's a lot of opportunity out here for me. I also have a museum here that I need to go check on, considering all the riots and nonsense that's been
Oh,
happening.
you own a museum.
My family.
Have I heard of it? What is it?
The Museum of Cormyr.
I didn't know that a single person could own a museum. That's really interesting.
Well, I mean, yeah, someone has to take care of it, and it's been passed down for generations.
That's a really nice legacy.
You could say that.
In
You hire
Cormyr,
people? Sorry.
In Cormyr.
just to cut in for one brief moment, Cormyr is well known, for better or for worse, as several landed, very rich families own a lot of the country, and this has always chafed other less wealthy countries. This has always chafed the common populace of Cormyr, but just based on your most stereotype-driven understandings of Cormyr, you know that it is not outside of the realm of possibility for one exceptionally wealthy family to own something like the National History Museum of Cormyr.
Oh, so this implies very, very deep pockets.
Yeah, but they might have just been sewn in, so.
Would Eden recognize the name Vaughn? If he's thinking about it?
No. No,
All right,
no, you don't. No, I don't say that lightly. No, you don't. You search your mind. You search for the Vaughn family, and you think that doesn't sound familiar. You can't quite place it. Sounds familiar, tangential, somehow connected, but not quite it.
I almost feel like we should have met before, but that's quite curious.
Yeah, speaking of that, out of character, what do I know of the Cather family?
Shall I answer this? You know the Cather family is composed of wealthy industrialists who have major mining interests in Sembia, Cormyr, and the Sword Coast. They are well known for a number of patented devices used in mines.
You said Sembia, Cormyr, and where?
The Sword Coast.
It's in the west.
I'm just taking notes, sorry.
Please, no, I invite you to archive the results of our discussions. And I'm sorry, I cut you off, Joel. You were saying?
Oh, I mean, Eden doesn't remember what he was saying, but that feels in character for him too. So, he might shift a little bit and say, in light of this danger of being discovered by the Zentarum agents, do we need to think about disguising ourselves?
Well, for me personally, my family is more well known. I tend to stick to the labs and, the archives.
Yeah, that you could very well be targeted. Perhaps the Zentarum agents want your museum, things that you have in the museum.
One could say that I already have my own disguise.
Okay, can I... What is it?
So you decide to rat Rel out, and then you want me to tell you all my secrets. I'm sorry, Eden, but maybe in like 6 years after I've known you for a while.
That's fair.
I do like you, if that, if that makes it any better.
I guess the better question would be, how does one get started with an alternate persona, a disguise? Do you just start going by a different name? Do you have to have paperwork that proves that you are this name? Do people ask for that?
Yes and no. If you want me to call you something else, I can.
Think about it.
I'm sure we could get the party on board. Just pick something that's not too crazy. For instance, Alan Vaughn has a nice ring to it. Anyways, moving on. Try not to let everyone's secrets out. Okay?
Got it.
Do you need a hug? Are you all right?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of
No,
course
I
you want a hug?
think you can do this. No, I'm fine, but thank you.
Okay. And I'll like push myself against the wall and like squeeze past her to get him to get out of the room.
He'll step out of the way. It's totally fine. There's no.
I know, but we just had this weird, awkward conversation, so she's just kind of like,
It's only awkward for Alan. If you think Eden's not used to being dressed down, then.
Eden's like the baby. I know you're not a baby, but like that's how I feel. I'm like, Eden's
That's
like a
valid,
baby,
yes.
and I like give you a hug and keep you in line. As I walk away, I have like a nice deep breath. That was awkward.
Eden feels like he's learned something for his part.
You both feel that there was an exchange of information here. I believe we've resolved the impending inquiries I had, unless was Tyranny going to talk to someone else? Was that...
I was going to talk to Barrick.
Varric.
I wonder where you'll find him. Is anyone going to... Do you tap anyone to accompany you?
Nope. I stride confidently up to his door and rap on it.
As you do so, your knock opens it. It must not have been closed or locked. Barrick peers around the corner. Ah, hello. Lord Fang.
The esteemed Captain Barrick. Only one of us has earned our titles, I might presume.
I find it flattering and comforting that you know that I earned my title Captain.
Yes. Anyhow, I wanted to inform you that my crew has decided to remove the mark on their ship, and I believe they've already done so. If there's something you need to do with your contraband, I suggest you do it sooner than later.
He strokes his beard, says, To be honest with you, I did not think that you would go that direction. What made you think that this was the best way to proceed?
We do not want to appear weak in a land of without law.
If you wish to not appear weak in these lands, you will be forced to back up those claims, I'm afraid. If the ship is boarded, are you prepared to defend yourself?
100%. And not a problem. So have a nice time, Captain. Oh, one last thing. Real quick question. Since we're being real with each other, are you a Zentarum agent?
Am I a Zentarum agent?
Hey, you said it, not me.
No.
Good to know.
He looks perplexed and perhaps a bit vexed by the question.
I'm just going to smile at him and say, just be on my way. Just a normal series of questions.
Your smile doesn't seem to land. He seems
That's my hope.
particularly annoyed that you would start this inquiry, but he doesn't follow up. He doesn't ask you anything in return.
I'm trying to throw him off.
Is there anything else?
No, I think my desires are satiated for the moment. Are yours?
I suppose. He seems taken aback by this line of questioning.
Supposition or not, you know where to find me.
Roll insight.
Nine.
You infer that Barrick seems straightforward enough.
Sure. All right. I'm going to leave and go up above deck and see what the knuckleheads are doing up here.
I believe you were coming to have a discussion with Grant.
Was I?
That's what you guys said.
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I am. Where is Grant? I thought Grant was off the side of the ship.
Well, he already did that. He's standing at the side of the ship now.
Okay. I'm going to just walk straight up to Grant. Grant. Remember how we just had a conversation downstairs about the fate of the Navigator Dawn?
Maybe.
I think it's best if we don't mention that to the crew here, including the captain.
So is Ian standing right here?
I guess Ian would be hanging out.
Grant's gonna think for a second and she'll go, Ian, would you give us a moment?
Yeah, sure. I'll, just be over here. Ian's gonna pretend to drive the
Aw.
ship.
No one
Grant-
has any conversations with poor Ian.
Grant is just looking out over the sea. He says, You seem really smart, eh?
I've passed a few tests in my night.
Tell me, if you found out someone in our party was a spy, what would you do?
I think I would kill them.
Alone?
Probably.
Before telling anybody else? Before getting any evidence?
Probably.
Why?
Because I don't want to face the ire of a spy once I've called them out in public. I don't want the group to be turned against me.
Why would they be turned against you if you're not the spy?
Well, you see, as soon as you name somebody, they have nothing to do but name you back.
That's just it, right? So, there were two people on the crew. Either of them could be a spy.
That's right.
And one of them killed the other.
God, I love D&D.
You sleep with your sword at your side, yes?
Absolutely.
I don't trust her either, but I also don't trust the captain. But they both need to cooperate for us to get to our destination.
Perhaps.
So
but-
their secrecy is in our benefit.
But what if she is the spy?
What if
And
she is
she's
the
getting
spy?
off the boat? And what if she's gonna report back?
I believe that the Zentarum very well know about our process here. And if they wanted us dead, we'd already be in the ground. We're more valuable alive than dead. And as a source of information than as a source of a corpse.
Maybe.
I find great solace in that.
I don't think it's a good gamble.
What is a good gamble, then?
I wouldn't know.
Well, Grint, if you want to waltz right up to the captain and tell him, that's your prerogative and I won't stop you. However, I prefer my hide intact, and I cannot captain a boat, and I assume a dwarf also cannot.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What about the other two?
What about the other two? I don't trust them either.
What if we had a talk with them?
Already had a talk with them, and with some magical lubrication.
And what'd you find?
I found that they were skimming off the captain, and they are in a partnership, I believe.
I bet your rail and the blow are in a partnership too.
I thought about that.
Seems likely.
I think the second we step off the ship is the correct time to seek the vengeance you're looking for.
Vengeance.
Whatever retribution you're looking for. I'm most concerned about the safety of our passage because we're captors on this boat, as it were. Zent or not.
That's just it. We're on a boat with enemies.
Yeah.
You want to stay that way?
What do you propose?
Evidence. There's got to be something.
Well, if you'd like me to distract Rail while you search her quarters, I can.
Grint's thinking.
I see the buffering.
Honestly, I'd rather have you look.
I'll take a look.
I'd like that.
I will.
All right. Let me know if you need help.
I can go unseen if I need.
Well, okay then.
With that, I'll go back downstairs and go into my cabin and wait to see when Rail leaves her quarters. The first mate has to have some duties on the ship, right?
You find yourself waiting. Mr. Ian Kalis, you mentioned something. Pretending to steer the ship. Could you describe that for me, please?
Yeah, he's got his hands on the wheel. He's not moving it like with his own power, but he would just have his hands on the wheel and he's just vibing to himself, humming to himself.
You do so. Mr. Tierney Fang, you wait very patiently. The ship passes under clouds, and briefly on deck there are sprinkles of rain. It doesn't last, and the weather breaks soon afterwards. Eventually the sun sets.
Did Eden come up here?
Yeah, Eden is gonna come up and join Ian, and he had wanted to ask about his dream.
Oh,
Hey, how's it going?
good.
Do you actually know how to steer this ship?
How hard can it be?
Yeah.
The thought occurs that, we've been up here a while and I haven't seen like anybody else. They must be like
Well-
really confident in the course they put in, minus the navigator. What makes you think?
That's true. I didn't think about that, but now I am thinking about it.
And I'll be honest, I don't know enough about ships to know if this is weird or not. But I feel like somebody should always be up here.
Well, the navigator wasn't supposed to be on the ship to begin with, so they probably can sail without him.
Yeah, but can they sail with like nobody?
The ship is being driven by the wind. If they're confident with where it's going, then
Just-
I don't think there's much more that they can do. Like, what are they gonna do? Like, watch the ship?
I mean, I can understand the philosophy of just going where the wind blows you, but it feels like a poor choice for getting somewhere specific on a vehicle.
Oh, they're
Well,
so
maybe
close
it
to that
was
moment.
aimed very specifically, and you should not
They're
turn
right
it.
on the cusp.
I didn't do any of this.
Good. Well, I'm proud of you for keeping the ship on a steady course. Then.
I'm gonna, just because this keeps coming up, I'm not guilty of doing anything just by not touching anything either.
What?
I didn't
Say that
do
again?
anything, and my not doing anything is also not my fault.
Did you do something? Did you not do something?
I didn't do something.
What did you not do?
I didn't say anything.
Ian, do you want to talk about it?
Not, I had a weird dream
Okay, yes, I
Where-
came up here to talk to you about that.
where I was on trial for not doing something because I wasn't somewhere. Something bad happened, and Grint was going to execute me, but he decided not to. So I'm really, really a big fan of Grint right now.
Oh, well.
But it's very
why-
strange.
Why do you need to be forgiven by somebody else?
Wow.
I guess I don't really think I
That's a
do,
powerful
but I really
question.
don't want to be blamed by somebody else, especially for something I didn't do.
Well,
It really seems unfair to
oftentimes
me.
In my experience, when you dream about trials, it means that your public opinion is not going. The public perception of you is not going the way that you want it to.
Maybe I shouldn't have gambled with the crew.
Do you think that drove down their opinion of you?
Probably didn't help.
Maybe that's why they're not up here hanging out with you. Who knows? But
Oh god, I gambled with the crew that killed somebody.
I think it's okay. I mean, maybe if you want to give her gold back since she's leaving, but that's totally up to you.
Oh, I love the discussion of guilt.
I spent it.
What did you not do?
Yeah, it's not really important. It's not, we don't have to get in. We don't have to get
Okay,
into that.
you don't know. You're right. We don't have to get into it. I just had a talk with Alan about this, actually, so I completely understand if you don't want to tell me.
We definitely don't need to get into it. But I'm happy to, it feels better to share.
Yeah, it often
But it's
does.
just a dream, so details are hazy, I mean, I don't even really know what I didn't do.
Well,
but it was
many
bullshit.
Important things are discovered in dreams, I find. So as long as you keep having them, you should tell me, and I will try to help you as much as I can.
I mean, doesn't everybody have dreams?
Everybody does, but not everybody remembers them or pays attention to the right details.
I never would have thought they'd be significant, though. I mean, it's just...
Why wouldn't
should
they
just
be?
Well, it can't really affect anything, right?
Some people find that they can. I think particularly powerful wizards, I've read stories about people who can act as if they're living their dreams. They have total control over what's happening in their dreamscape. Now, that seems pretty rare, but I hope someday that I can do that.
I'll bear that in mind and maybe be a little bit more careful.
Ian Kalis,
I mean, it's... Sorry, go ahead.
do dreams matter?
Previously, Ian would say no, but now he feels like they kind of do. He's slowly coming along to the idea that maybe he should not take them so flippantly.
Continue.
He takes most things flippantly.
How would you have liked the dream to have ended?
Wow. That's a good
Uh,
question. That's very powerful.
You're free to go have a parade. I don't.
Parade. I mean, that's
I like
very
it'd be
different from
flying.
you're
I
free to
think
go.
flying would be fun. I'd like to fly.
Flying, yeah, you're right. Flying. It's that feeling of weightlessness, of not being weighed down by things like guilt or regret, right? That
Wow.
I understand why you're looking for that.
I meant like through the air.
That too. Yeah.
But yeah, no, maybe yeah, your one's good too, and probably true.
Yeah. I had a dream the other night that sort of stuck with me. I dreamed that I was in a dark cave and I was a bat. And I felt something coming towards me. And instead of looking to see what it was, I looked away.
I don't know a lot about bats. Could you even look at it?
They have this thing where with sound, right? They put out sound and then it comes back and you get a very vague sense of the shape of things.
So you listened away?
I listened away. I was not listening, you're right. Something was trying to tell me something and I would not hear it.
Eden Cather, do dreams matter?
Absolutely.
What do you think that means?
Well, the meeting seems pretty clear after what we discussed today. We are in danger. And I can either blind myself to it, not listen to it, or turn and look danger in the eye. But it's a very unnatural response almost. You want to run away.
Well, on the bright side, you could actually do that. Can't you like be a bat and just
Not until
do
level
that?
8, but yes.
Well, hey, there you go. At least you got that in your back pocket.
I did that for a couple of years actually. I was living out in the woods, just being animals and learning things from nature, and it seemed like that could not go on forever.
God, that sounds kind of boring.
Does
I'll be honest.
it?
Maybe I'm just a city person.
What do you like to do?
Enjoy civilization.
I mean, but if you could fly, if you
Spend
could
money.
choose between civilization and flying, Ian, what
I'm
would you
hoping
choose?
someday to do both.
Okay. Well, I guess you do have that spell, that levitation spell, so you sort of
We're
can
getting
you
there.
not cast it on yourself?
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, but I
Not
can't
the same
like
thing.
go. You know.
What
We're
city
getting
are
there.
you from?
Waterdeep.
Waterdeep.
Yeah, it's a bit ways from here, but you know.
I've always wanted to go.
Oh, it's nice.
Do you miss it?
Right now I miss cities, but maybe not that one specifically. It's good to get out, you know, see the world.
Yeah.
The sun has fully set now. It's dark
Yeah, we should
here.
find someone that can control the ship.
Ian, you have a sense that something is not as it is, or not as it appears. The ship is still moving, coasting through dark waters, far in the distance, in the neck, where the two spits of land get closer than anywhere else here in the Sea of Stars. You can see lights distantly, a city somewhere on the edge of the coast, getting closer and closer.
There was something else that Rael said, actually, that I haven't told anybody, but I will tell you. And she said something about that the ship isn't.
Isn't what?
That's what I said. It felt very dreamlike in that moment. She's trying to tell us something, but I don't understand what it is, and I don't understand why she can't just say it.
Well, I know what it isn't right now, and that's being driven by somebody who knows what they're doing. So maybe we should find somebody that knows what they're doing. Because I don't want to hit the land that we can see coming this way, or we're going that way. Let's go find the captain. I guess he's the person. Or Rail.
Yeah, I
Should we
guess.
find Rail? Who should we find? Who do you think we should find?
The captain seems like he would know who to delegate to.
I kind of want to ask Rail what that meant, though.
I'm
Should I
not sure
not?
she'd tell you, but
Okay.
maybe. I don't know. Maybe she would.
It's like a riddle. When is a ship not a ship? Is that a riddle? That sounds like a
It
ship.
is.
It's the start of a
Mhm.
riddle. Tell you what, you grab the captain. I want to look around.
Okay. All right. I will go talk to the captain.
Would the two of you like to roll initiative, or do you have a preferred order in mind for how to resolve this? Which one of you wants to go first?
I don't care.
I don't care either. Ian can go.
Okay. Ian just wants to, being no ship expert himself, though I guess growing up sort of around the water, he wants to look for things that would be very out of place on a ship, stuff that would make a ship not appear to be a ship. I don't know. I think he would probably start. He'd probably start by looking at something structural, like if there was a place in the ship where there should be an open space, but there's a wall, something like that, that would like be like, this is weird. Like, why is there, is there storage here? What's going on?
Roll history. Oh, pardon me, stream.
Uh, 14.
You examine the structure of the ship, and you attempt to square this with, as you said, you didn't grow up on ships, but you grew up near them. You grew up near the water, and you've seen many ships, and you remember in your youth seeing crews, people with different characteristics than your own, dark-skinned humans from Chult, strange hulking Northmen from the spine of the world crewing ships, and you can almost picture what they looked like, crawling in masses, huge crews, adjusting the sails, rigging, and getting ready for another voyage on a great sea. Looking around, everything appears to be in place.
Did you say earlier that the sails were making adjustments by themselves or something like that? Or was that something that we wouldn't have noticed?
That's something that someone else in the crew noticed, but studying the sails, you notice something. You watch as one of the ropes slightly loosens in a pulley, letting several feet of slack into the sail, and then slowly tightening as if of its own accord.
Can I look for like a mechanism that would do that?
You can. Do you suspect it would be mechanical or magical in nature?
I'd probably do a cursory glance for some kind of mechanical device, but if it wasn't obvious, then he would just assume there's some kind of probably magical.
Roll Arcana.
A 19.
The motion of the rope in the pulley reminds you of a magically loaded crossbow you saw once. You can remember the mechanism. some arcane power allowed the winding mechanism to operate itself, allowing the wielder to shoot bolts faster than someone with an unassisted crossbow.
Okay. Ian's gonna look for Tierney. I don't know if you want to do that or hop to.
I am still waiting for Rail to leave her quarters.
You continue to wait. Let's check in.
17 years later.
Let's check in with Eden Cather.
So Eden's gonna go talk to the captain. He'll poke his head in the captain's chambers.
The door is still open from several people that have come and gone. As you walk down the hall, you notice that Tierney seems to be studying and waiting for something. As you walk into the captain's quarters, do you do that? Do you exchange a glance and a wave with Tierney?
Absolutely.
You do so, and Tierney, you catch the quick eye of Eden Cather, who seems to infer what you're doing. As you approach his quarters and walk through the open door, Captain Barrick looks a bit concerned. He looks up at you and quickly adopts a friendly, boisterous smile. Ah, Eden Cather. Lord Cather, is it? Either way, nice to see you.
Just Eden's fine, thank you.
Just Eden, okay.
I had some questions about the ship and how the crew works on it. And that I don't know a single thing about either of those things.
Well, for many, the sea is a mystery.
Does somebody have to be driving the ship?
Driving at the ship's wheel? No, we set a course and it should be perfectly stable as long as nobody touches it.
Even when we're pulling up on land?
He wipes his brow. Either me or Rail, although I think I'll do it this time. Once we get close enough, I'll take it into the harbor.
Oh. Have you always had this ship?
Always? No,
Since...
I'm afraid I was born small, naked, and pink, so no, I haven't always had this ship.
I'm just curious how you obtained this ship.
Well, to tell you the truth, it's not my ship. I'm merely the captain. I believe you met Baron Pryor. He owns this ship, along with several other assets in his shipping fleet. This isn't his only ship, but it's one of his oldest.
Is that odd for a captain not to own their own ship?
It depends who you ask, I suppose. Some captains operate more as privateers, and they own their ship and are paid by... for example, I have a friend who he works as a privateer for the nation of Cormyr, and prior to Cormyr's government falling into disarray, he owned his ship and did a number of services for them, everything from reconnaissance to shipping. So it's not that abnormal for a captain to not own their ship. I would say some captains work on a contract basis like me. Some own their ship and some own their ship outright. Everyone is leading a different life on Faerun, Eden.
That's true. Did you pick this ship, or was it simply assigned to you?
I wouldn't say I selected it. Admittedly, out of Pryor's ships, it wouldn't have been my first choice.
What do you look at when selecting a ship?
Chiefly age, the shape of the hull, how well it will be able to navigate both the Sea of Stars and the Dragonmere. It is not uncommon to take a ship like this through the Dragonmere. You need something with a shallow draft because the mere is so shallow itself.
Eden's sort of smiling and nodding, like, yes, this all sounds very reasonable. Okay, well, we seem to be coming up on land fairly shortly. My friend was a little concerned about the lack of crew about, but I see no reason why that should be odd. when I talk to
Everything,
you.
everything is in good order. I assure you.
Yet somehow Eden does not feel reassured.
You do not. You have a sense of hollowness.
Well, actually, if either you or Rail usually, I guess, pull the ship in, maybe I should go get her to do it, and you should have a break tonight.
Roll persuasion. This could be an important roll.
18.
Barrick strokes his beard and seems to consider your request, and then thinks better of it, and says, "You know what? Maybe now is a good time for me to head to the ship's wheel and take a look at how close we're getting." He seems to be put off by something. As he edges by you, do you let him past?
Yes.
As he edges by you, he walks up the stairs and confidently approaches you, Ian Kalis. He sees your hand on the wheel and says, "If I could, my good man, may I take control of the ship back?"
Yeah, I was kind of wondering when someone was going to come do that.
Not sure what happened to my cameras here. Oh, there we go.
Is it okay. I'm not a ship guy, but I'm used to seeing a lot of people crawling around a ship. It's very empty up here.
But you said yourself, you're not a ship guy. So I could see how something like this, a voyage at night where we set a course and simply wait to arrive, that this may be a bit out of sorts for you. But I assure you, as a veteran of the sea, that everything is in good order. This is all perfectly normal.
No, it just seems like, like what if the wind shifted?
Why would the wind shift?
It shifts all the time.
I'm no aerothurge, but I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of like the wind shifting?
Why don't you move away from the wheel?
Yeah, all right. I'm glad, it's in the hands of an expert now.
As it should be. He takes the wheel and moves it about 15 degrees.
Does the ship respond in kind?
No, it doesn't.
We'll go see a man about a horse. I'll be back later.
Roll persuasion at disadvantage.
I rolled a 1, so it's a 7 total. You said a disadvantage, right?
At disadvantage.
Okay, yeah, it's a 1.
Was that a 1 on the die?
Yes. A 7 total.
You explain to Barrick that you're going to go see a man about a horse here on his ship that he is entirely aware has nary a horse on board. He doesn't say anything, but you watch his eyes follow you very carefully as you move.
It's a turn of phrase. There's not really a horse. The bags couldn't hold a horse. They're way too... I've never seen a horse that small. I'm going to go.
You do so. Where do you go?
He's looking for tyranny.
A cursory search of the ship would yield Tierney. He is in his room, waiting for something.
Hey, I found something very strange.
Oh, yeah?
that you specifically, I think, would want to know about, because it's arcanically combined, concerning. It's a magic. I think there's some magic that you might want to take a look at. The ship is sailing itself. The ship
Yeah.
it's
I guess I'm the only person that's ever been in a boat before in this group.
well, it just didn't occur to me, but like there was nobody on deck the whole time. The sails are going by itself. The captain just turned the wheel. It didn't do anything.
Do you remember the first question I asked when I got on this boat?
Not at all.
Where's the rest of the crew? Usually two-masted vessels have over 20 people manning them. Sometimes as much as 40.
Well, I'm glad you're ahead of it, because it just occurred to me.
I can come up and take a look at it, but I'm sure I'll find the same thing as you, that the boat is being magically drawn.
What seems like kind of extraordinary, right?
Completely.
You're not curious as to, like, okay, like, how's it work? Why does the Baron have something like that? Why are we on a ship like that? Why is there even a captain or a navigator? The navigator especially seems weird.
Do you remember how we got to our last destination without a navigator?
There was a logbook, at least. I mean, it's kind of weird, but...
Do you remember how swiftly we cut into the shore without a problem?
Then why were they so panicked about finding the logbook?
I think they were panicked about somebody being dead. I think it was a good distraction for us, wasn't it?
I mean, they weren't getting rid of the body until we were there.
All right, I will come look at the whatever you say.
No, you don't have to.
All I was saying is we're on this boat for better or worse, and we don't have a better way back. So I'm not looking to wreck anything, and I'm not looking to ask any questions that will lead to my demise.
Right.
But let's go look. Let's have a field trip.
Well, I guess I was just curious.
Yeah. Ian, there are powers greater than us in this world, and we're both wizarding folk. If there's a power greater than me and I can't control it, I wonder why I'm still alive. And I try and keep that situation going.
Aren't you curious about, like, how it works, so maybe you could control it? Like, let's say, for example, what if we had to get rid of the captain? How do we control the ship if the wheel doesn't work?
I don't want to get rid of the captain.
Yeah, but somebody's
Because I
going around
can't control
snapping
the
necks.
ship. I didn't look in the bag either. If a power is greater than me, I try and let it pass through me instead of me passing through it. But let's go. Let's go solve this mystery. It'll provide a great distraction from the crew never leaving their quarters, the first mate never leaving her quarters, and other various mysteries that are unknown to the world.
Crink Rommel, are you still on the deck?
Yeah.
You observe as something happens.
Oh.
You are approaching, and the ship starts to change its angle in the water as the sails move, and the ship starts to cut in toward the harbor of Dawngleam.
Okay.
Grint. Dawngleam was once a town of little importance. The Cormyrean Navy built a lighthouse and dredged the harbor here to create a small town in order to protect shipping in this channel. That is where you are arriving. The entire party is now in Cormyr, a failed state. There is little to no protection from the law here, and you come to realize that while Sembia offered its own horrors, the unknowns of this once great country brought to ruin may offer a far worse reality. It's now 10:30 p.m. on April 10th. And I believe we had some people in movements. You were Tierney Fang. I believe you were getting up on deck. Also, what is Alan Vaughn? What are you up to right now? I notice you are outside. Or were you also waiting for Rail to move?
Oh no, I'm gonna go talk to Rail.
Why don't we resolve that first?
Okay. I am just going to go in and
You just walk in.
I do. At
do?
this point, yeah, with the information that I have, I just walk in.
As you walk in, Rail is writing something in a journal. When you walk in, she closes the book.
You seem to be doing a lot of writing.
I've always fancied myself a bit of a writer. She
So
tucks a lock of hair behind her ear.
What sort of secrets does that little book hold?
She raises an eyebrow. We call them secrets because they are our own, and typically we don't wish to share them.
Sometimes it's fun to share.
By way of a mutual friend, I shared one with you.
True. But that wasn't really personal, was it?
I'm not sure what you mean by personal, admittedly.
Well, you know some of my secrets, it seems. So I was just wondering if you felt like sharing one of your own.
She considers for a long moment. You already know one of my secrets. Actually, I would say two. But as she opens her mouth, something else punctuates the pause between her words. It's the sound of a bell. The ship's bell rings. You wonder if you're approaching something. On deck, you can see the lights of dawn gleam on the deck getting closer and closer as you approach the harbor. Rail uses this opportunity to eye you up carefully, Alan. She smiles at you, and you get the impression that her smile is sincere. She says, Miss Vaughn, it may be some time before we see each other again, but I'm confident we will see each other someday. Does that satisfy your curiosity?
A little bit. All I can say is, if you do have secrets in your book, you may want to keep it close. Because I should say. I'm the least suspicious of the bunch.
What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying to keep your secrets close.
Let me ask you this. You seem to be indicating that someone in particular is interested in me and maybe our secrets. Who would that person be?
I wouldn't say one person in particular, but I can say that after our conversation, I know that you are a trusted ally. The others, I'm not going to disclose any information to because they are not one of us, as far as I'm aware. And from one person who has a friend who harps to another, I suggest that you keep your secrets close.
Miss Vaughn, thank you for your service.
And thank you for yours.
On deck, the Sparrow approaches dawn gleam. You find yourself somewhere new. This is dawn gleam on the neck. The city is mostly dark. There is illumination at the top of the lighthouse, but it is relatively dim. You wonder if the lighthouse is kept at a lower luminosity during periods of strife. There is a market in Dawn Gleam that still has a few lit torches that you can see from the harbor itself. For the most part, the city seems to be sleeping. There are no other ships except for a small tender ship tied up here on the pier. On the deck, you can see Barrick adjusting something with the ship's wheel as the ship comes in and settles on the pier.
Have I been to Dongling before?
You've probably been through it at the very least.
Okay.
As the ship approaches, the crew, some of whom you haven't seen in a little bit of time, both a female and male rigger, whose names you may or may not know, come up to the deck, each carrying small bags. Rail goes down to her quarters, retrieving a small backpack. The three of them exchange a small conversation on deck. Barrick regards them warily and doesn't participate in their conversation. Instead, who is on deck? Show of hands.
Grint is.
Grint is, yeah. Anyone else on deck?
I feel like I would have followed Rail up.
I think that makes sense.
Yep, Ian's just following Tierney.
I would have gone into Rail's room.
Okay. We will resolve that momentarily. What about Eden?
I think Eden is hanging out in his room.
Does anyone on deck appear to impede? I'm sorry. Does anyone attempt to impede the crew from disembarking?
No, I'd probably follow suit. Tired of being on the boat.
Do you also disembark?
Yeah, I would.
You do so, and are pleasantly surprised at the feeling of the solid pier underneath your feet. The crew walks quickly, seeming to know where they're going.
Is anyone approaching the boat?
Not that you can see. The pier is quiet so far. The ship's bell. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Grint would then say to the captain, like he's going to look around, and if there's no one around, then Grint is going to say, "We should get those bags off, eh?"
He lowers his voice, hoping that you'll lower yours. He leans in as if he's sharing a secret with you. I was hoping we could do that tomorrow morning.
Why?
Because I'm meeting someone here and I don't know. Look, I'm taking what's in those bags to a Dwergar, and I don't know where he is in the city. He just told me he hides in plain sight.
Is no one going to come check the boat?
Tomorrow, I fucking hope not.
Would it not be a better idea then to perhaps move them off the boat now? Somewhere to an inn, even.
If you think I'm taking what's in those bags and storing it in some inn, you must be crazy.
If you think it's better on the boat, fine. Fine.
When we do get to move, though, can I rely on your help to move the bags?
Of course.
I have to ask you something. Did you
Please.
look in them? Do you know what's in there?
Not a clue.
Good man.
I don't care.
Even better. So I have Alan Vaughn standing on the ship. I have Tierney Fang rooting through the first mate's quarters. Is that correct?
That is correct.
I'm on the pier.
Tierney Fang, you find something. This room has been picked clean. Even the blanket from the bed is missing. There is little here except a bare straw mattress and a desk that once contained something. Do you wish to investigate further?
I'll take a look at the desk. Oftentimes when people write on a desk, there's marks that bleed through.
Roll investigation.
Ten.
There are marks on the desk. Someone wrote here a lot.
Can I make any of them?
You trace your fingers over it, but you can't quite seem to put it together. You can't quite grasp what was written or what language it was written in, but you can tell that this desk has seen quite a bit of wear.
Okay. I'll finish reconnoitering this room, and then I'll go upstairs.
You do so. Anyone else doing anything on board ship?
I'm peering into the water to see if there's any fish swimming around the wooden beams of the pier.
You peer into the darkness of the water. You see innumerable barnacles on the pier. You think you can see perhaps small minnow-like fish in the shadow of the pier, in the blackness of the night.
Any indication of clams or mussels in the area?
You think you'd have to get a bit muddy to discern that.
Darn. The familiarity of the town makes me feel a lot more at ease.
You have a sense of deja vu, like you've been here before. Perhaps the patina of the town was different at the time, but you have a sense of familiarity and, more than anything, that you are once again in your homeland.
I don't know what everybody else is doing, but I'm going to go explore the market area. See what's going on over there. I know it's late, but...
Do you direct this question to people who could be in earshot on the deck?
No. I just kind of look around to see what everybody's doing, and then I just wander off. I haven't had any peace and quiet to myself in a while. Her being much of a loner is kind of like antsy for some alone time.
There is a single road, lit by nothing, leading from the dock toward the markets.
I just kind of walk around looking at what is there, what's been cleaned up, and just kind of kicking some rocks around. Nothing major, just getting a breath of fresh air.
Hold that thought. You find yourself somewhere new. While you take this in and consider your next move carefully, what is everyone else doing? Or should we go to initiative order? Holy fuck.
I think I would enter the town and canvass around.
Would you do so together with people? Are you following Alan's path? Are you conferring at all?
So Grant would probably go with Tyranny.
I'm probably going to go to a pub.
That's exactly where Grant was going to go.
Where would you gentlemen find a pub? I guess it would take a bit of exploring.
Yeah, for sure. What time did we get in? 10:30?
10:30.
Okay.
It's late at night.
Mm-hmm. So that being the case, I would think you said the town was very dark. Are there any buildings that aren't particularly dark? Because I imagine an inn would be well lit.
You're exactly right. As you get away from the docks, let me go back to Dawngleam for a moment. The only thing that has any illumination near the docks is the lighthouse. But as you get, I'm not sure if you can see it on this map, but as you get farther into town, Dawngleam is compared to Serloon, Dawngleam is a fairly large town. Not a city, but a town. And you can see a small halo of light and the aggregation of a number of torches, candles toward the center of town, away from the docks, which are quiet and dim. Let me know if you'd like me to flip between these two screens. This is your regional screen, and then there is one road up from the dock if you want to stay on the road.
Giving others a chance to weigh in.
Agree.
Said Alan was wandering off on her own, right?
Correct.
I think Ian would try to try to catch up with her once she was away from everyone, just for a quick chat.
Alan, do you want yourself to be found?
I'm indifferent. If somebody wants to find me, they can find me. I'm not hiding. I'm just getting a breath of fresh air. That's all.
You would be able to, simply by retracing her steps, so to speak, you saw the direction that she went, you could run after her and chase her down.
Okay. Yeah, that's what Ian will do.
Okay. One moment. Where'd my Ian go? Can't find... Oh, there he is. Got some extra Ians. You find her by herself on this ill-lit road that leads into town.
Hey, Alan.
Oh. Hi, Ian.
Hey, real quick, while we got a moment.
Yeah?
Listen, do you want to know what they were smuggling?
I mean, yeah, obviously.
Okay.
So...
Here, check this out. And then he'll reach into his robe and look around and try to make sure that there's nobody that can see them.
Roll sleight of hand.
It's a 7. I'm gonna Tides of Chaos that though. I'm gonna re-roll it.
As you wish.
Or I can get it. I guess I get advantage, so it's just one extra roll.
Right, so you're rolling it as long as it's... So you're keeping the higher number.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
And?
Unbelievable.
Well, I rolled a 1 for my second roll, so it's just a 7.
That's why I don't use the virtual dice.
It's no better with the real ones.
For what it's worth, a 1 at... This is... I've anticipated the situation. A 1 at a advantage that you discard does not trigger Ian and entropy, for what it's worth. When you pull this out of your robe, it glimmers and catches the light.
He'll quickly shove it back.
What does Alan know about it?
You couldn't tell what it was. For just a brief moment, he pulled out something very shiny. It reflected the light, almost like a bronze plate, and then he quickly shoved it back in his robe.
It's dragon scales.
What do I know about dragon scales?
They are typically found on dragons, depending on which dragon they came from, why, how they were extracted. It would tell you far more than simply them being dragon scales. It's hard to discern exactly what's implied by that without having more information. Despite your breadth of knowledge here, you just need more data.
Got it. So some dragon scales would not be that big of a deal compared to other ones that could be a big deal.
A general rule is that metallic dragons are generally regarded as saviors, valorous, and colored dragons, like a white dragon, a red dragon, a green dragon, are generally regarded as malevolent and evil. Oh, I think
Got
the word.
it.
I'm sorry. The word is chromatic. I think chromatic dragons.
Can I roll for? I don't know. Like, well, I guess I need more information. So let's go with that.
Both of you can roll perception.
I'd love to roll perception.
That'd be a flat 3.
Ellen, something catches your eye.
Oh, shit.
It's a bird flying overhead. You think it's a common raven.
Nat 20, so 21 total.
You see something, Ian. In fact, you see it and hear it at the same time. Someone striding down the road, and as he approaches, ba-dung, he plays a note on a small guitar.
It's a little late for that, don't you think?
He's rather far away. Are you speaking to Ian or to this man?
It was to that man, but I didn't realize he was that far away. Sorry.
Well, Ian will just really quickly say, like, I don't know if this is the only thing they had, but, you know, those fuckers are probably up to no good. I thought you should know.
Oh, I already anticipated that.
Well, it might be important. I don't know. Anyway,
No,
we can
I'm
talk
sure.
about
I'm
it
sure it is. We'll investigate it a little more later.
Hell. This man calls to you from 10 feet away. He strides up, and you notice that he is holding a chestnut-colored guitar. As he finishes his sentence, he punctuates it with a strum of the strings.
Don't you think it's a little late to be doing that?
A little late to be doing what exactly?
You could have said hello, howdy.
I said hail.
How you doing?
Hail.
Oh, no, her.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm not the nicest, I guess.
Hello and howdy.
Hey,
Greetings
we don't have any
to
money.
my friends.
Yeah, what he said, no money.
No money. Well, I have some very poor news if you have no money.
And what is that?
I've been practicing this song with my band for many years.
I knew it.
Are you ready? Sing along now. Go ahead. You know how it goes. Come on. Your money or your life.
Oh, fuck.
And you don't have any money. He looks
just look at.
he looks disappointed.
That's fine. You can be disappointed all you want, but I don't suggest messing with us. Of all people.
Of all people. That's not you don't know the first verse.
I don't know the first verse.
You don't know the first verse.
I don't care about it either.
Is the second verse look out for people on the roofs?
Look out for people. Well, they're not on the roofs. They're coming down the road towards you and I. Are you sure you don't have any money?
I'm sure I don't have any money for you.
I suppose that means I'll be taking your life.
I'm going to cast Mage Armor.
I'm going to cast Spike Growth.
Everyone's going to have to roll initiative first. And actually,
8.
You know what? Hold those rolls. We're 19 minutes pre-end of session. Why don't we pause it here?
No.
Does that sound reasonable?
It doesn't.
Pre-combat? I think it sounds very reasonable.
Unreasonable.
I don't want to do like one turn of combat and then press pause, so let's pause it here. Sounds good? Yeah?
Yep.
Splitting the party is so smart.
It is. It's so much fun.
If only we had the one with message with us.
I'm not worried about that one. We got this. We got it. We're all right.
I have the utmost
I
confidence
have
that
invisibility and misty step. I'm all right.
it's just a bard. Bards aren't threatening.
Yeah, sorry, Ian. Adios.
So, same time next week. Everyone good for next Friday?
Yes.
It's the day after Thanksgiving, so everyone double check your schedules
Yes.
because it's not a pittance to say, "Are you free next Friday?"
Yeah, I'm free. I'm good.
I'm free.
Jewel, are you free? Are you?
Yeah, I might have to figure out some technology, but I'll be around.
Okay, I was going to say I think we can arrange something. So I will keep you updated. Actually, yeah, we can confer after session. But I will see everybody in some capacity next Friday for session 6 of Sparrow. And wow, you're in Cormier now. Sounds safe, right?
Yeah.
Purple dragons.
Nothing bad happens in Cormier.
Nothing.
It's a wonderful welcome.
Oh, we missed a critical fail. I forgot about the critical fail on any roll thing.
Well, no, that was why I addressed. That was why I don't think I connected it very well. But that's what I was saying. If you roll at disadvantage and you discard a roll, I'm not counting that toward table discovery.
Oh, we just straight up missed one earlier though.
Oh well, did we? Okay.
Yeah, it's all right. It doesn't matter. I just forgot about it.
I also tell you what. Let's you and me coordinate before next session.
What does that mean? What does table discovery mean? I don't understand.
Like when you go in a room and you want to put something down, like you need a horizontal surface. You need to discover all the tables in the room.
Okay. So if you're discarding a nat 1, it still counts? Is that what you're saying?
Don't worry about it.
I'm curious.
It's an Ian specific thing.
Oh, okay. Have fun.
But your curiosity.
It'll be obvious when it happens though.
Got it.
Your curiosities have been uploaded to the prime material plane.
Nice, nice. Well, maybe we'll meet Reginald eventually.
Perhaps. Again, might be contingent on a roll.
Maybe. What's up,
I
Reg?
hope not.
Well, I'm going to go eat food. You guys are the best. This was a great session. Thank you so much. Thank you for the tension. Good job in unraveling quite a few things that I thought were very subtle. I thought you guys did exceptional jobs tonight. I thought this was a kind of a challenging session from a like external stimulation kind of like there wasn't a lot there except for things that you guys put there. So I thought that this was a wonderful session. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for bringing it all as always. So I'll see you next week.
See you
Thanks,
guys.
Michael.
Later.
Bye.
Okay, checking in on stream chat. Hello. Oh, Falmari. Ruff is, as always is, die cursed. Yes, I know. Ruff is very much a feast or famine type of player. And in this session, surely there was much feasting to be had. Have a nice little cliffhanger. Agreed. Yes, I like cutting things right before the end of something. So it's like as you know, I don't like chopping up combats. I think it can be tough to get back into where were we, what exactly was going on. So I think this is a good way of resolving it. You're seeing the pawns moved in the fog of war. It gave you a unique sense of viewer only tension. Yes, I was kind of hoping for that. There's a lot of things like this where you as the audience can see a bit more going on, and I thought that would be really cool. I think it's actually one of the reasons why I prefer having a DM view versus player view, because one of the things that I thought about doing is having a on that monitor, the one that I'm streaming, I could instead give you player view, like from one player's perspective or something like that. But I think DM view is cool. So now you can see, you have a little bit more circumspect view on what's going on, and hopefully that adds some tension for you too. But anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out. Waffle, if you're still out there, thanks for stopping by. Everyone else who's watching, I appreciate your continued support, and I will see you next week for more D&D. Have a wonderful night.